Welcome, everyone, to episode 162 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Owen, and today we're talking about two movies, Michael and Mother Mary. But first, as always, we could talk about what we watched this past week.
I don't know how to do
Owen
that.
doesn't know what to do with
Wicked
his
Witch.
hands.
I'm trying to do that. It's like triple
Oh.
M's, man. I don't.
Yeah, I think that's the top review on Letterboxd,
Oh,
actually,
really? Yeah.
was
For
someone
for
making a
Mother
Wicked Witch
Mary.
joke. No, for Michael.
That doesn't make sense. There's only one M.
Yeah, they're not very creative
Oh my god. Mike,
with the top
shout out all the
Letterboxd
Michael
reviews.
fans. They're gonna love this podcast.
Yeah. We'll talk about them. But anyway, what did you watch anything this week?
Yes. I watched two movies that I'm gonna talk about that aren't that don't start with an
Okay.
M. that, don't, that, that don't start with an
Oh,
M.
that you
Uh,
want to talk about.
yes. Yes.
Oh, I thought you said I watched two movies that I won't talk about. I was like, okay, that's not really
Yeah,
what the
I'm gonna do
I
a
don't think that's not really
10-second
what we do
segment here.
here.
I watched about a lot of movies that I just don't want to talk to him about.
Yeah.
No, I watched two Harold Lloyd movies. Um, if you guys don't know who Harold Lloyd is, I saw some like review somewhere. I don't even know what movie it was for, but they were basically like, you have Chaplin and you have Buster Keaton, and then Harold Lloyd's the third guy. He's like the third place guy.
Yeah.
So he is, in the same vein in terms of like silent movie comedy star. I don't He doesn't really direct in the way that, at least that these two he didn't direct. Yeah, he directed
Only a
like
few, yeah,
one
compared
or
to how many
two.
he was in.
Yeah, like, so in terms of like Keaton and Chaplin, he wasn't a director like that. I'm sure he had a big involvement in terms of like the same, like the way that Tom Cruise is now. Like, I feel like he
Yeah.
was. I don't know as much about him as these were some of my first watches of his work, but I'm sure he was very involved. He did write this first one that I'm going to talk about, which is Girl Shy. He was a
Mm,
credited writer on it, so you know, definitely a big involved guy. He's really good. I really like both of these movies. Girl Shy and The Freshman. I've been meaning to watch The Freshman for a long time, just on the kind of base concept of it being like a 1925 movie about college football. That just
yeah,
sounds
kind of
awesome.
sick.
Like, I think Leatherhead, old school, like, we haven't really invented the forward pass like football
Yeah.
movies are kind of awesome. Um, and then Girl Shy, I think I saw on Twitter, like, people were posting, or some, like, not people, I say people as if like it was a ton of people, but it's like one guy, one person posted some of like the like inner titles. And I ended up watching it. Also because like no one I follow has seen the movie. There's like maybe 15 people who had it on their watch list, but no one has seen Girl Shy. And it's on Criterion. And I think last week I was like, oh, I'm loving Buster Keaton. uh you're gonna watch more Buster Keaton. And I think just in general, this kind of like I said, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, like, I'd watch all of. I hopefully in the next few years, like, I'll just be like, I've seen pretty much
All
every.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are so fun. I think the silent comedies, when done really well, are like super enjoyable and are really funny. I'm not sure they're really for everyone. Like, if you don't find them funny, then it's like it's hard to like be like, hey, let's watch all
Yeah.
these. But I was also like, I've been editing a lot and like been in like labs exporting stuff, and it's just something like, okay, exporting this, I gotta sit here, let me throw on like a silent comedy, and I'm just like in these like labs, like laughing to myself
Yeah.
because they're just really funny, and really like inventive in terms of, because it's silent, it all has to come from the the performance or the shot composition. You
Yeah.
can't really just like say a funny thing. Um,
Yeah.
there's just It's really like technical, formal comedy, which is something that like we don't really get as much anymore, obviously, because you can kind of just say a funny thing. Or just comedy is an easier way to do it without like having to really think, how do I do something funny without sound basically. Like, I mean, there's
Right.
music, but um yeah, it's so, I mean, I wouldn't really put him like above Keaton or Chaplin, but I think he deserves to be talked, like, he's not someone that's talked about nearly as much. So
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fun to kind of dive into it. He's a different sort of character too. I was also thinking about like how Buster Keaton and Chaplin like have their like kind of characters. Obviously, that's like not Buster Keaton. Like, just not who he is. Like, he's playing a
Yeah.
character, right? And I was thinking about like how today we don't really have that. We have it in terms, I was thinking about like The Rock, right? Like or he has a
Sure.
sort of like
Yeah.
character where it's like he's kind of that in every movie, and that's seen as like kind of this knock. And obviously he's not making like movies in the same
Yeah. He's not
quality.
making Charlie Chaplin
Right,
movies.
exactly. But I was thinking about like it'd be really cool if like he was, I don't know, I think it's night there's something interesting there that I haven't really fully tapped into, but I was just thinking about how Harold Lloyd is playing this sort of character. He's kind of like this like nerd with glasses like archetype.
Yeah.
That's like his kind of vibe, where he's just kind of this like loser with glasses. Um and he just like gets into bullshit. And it was, I was really thinking about like, what if like we had a guy, like we don't really have a guy who's like, I'm just a fucking loser, and then like I do all these
Yeah.
movies. Like, it's kind of like Michael Cera almost. Like if Michael Cera was like, he feels sort of like that. I kind of didn't even think about that, but I'm putting it now together as I speak. It's like if Michael Cera was like in all these like kind of fucking situations. And I guess that's just kind of who Michael Cera is. But I was just thinking about the kind of like typecasting and how like that's seen as like this like you suck sort of thing. And they even do that with Tom Cruise a little bit, where they're like he just does like these
I was
fucking
gonna
action
say.
movies and like stunts, and like it's all he does, and it's like diminished. But like a Chaplin or a Keaton is kind of spoke about in more regard, um, because acting is talked about in a funny way. But yeah, that's I think one of the bigger different. I mean, there's always like, especially with Buster Keaton. I haven't seen as much Chaplin, so I'm more talking about Keaton in these kind of comparisons. But there is a level of like with Buster Keaton, a lot of his movies will be like, "Oh, he's not strong at all. He can't do it," and then he's like, "Look how strong I am." And Harold Lloyd is a little different, where it's like
Yeah.
he's just kind of a loser the whole time. In the what's it called? The Freshman. It's about he's going to college, and there's a movie in the world about like this guy who is super awesome. Like, he's the most popular guy in school, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to school and be the most popular guy in school." And he really struggles at doing that. But he's they're like people are talking. They're like, to be the most popular guy at school, you have to be on the football team. So he's like, okay, I gotta be on the football team. And the whole movie, like, he's not good at football or like strong. Like, the movie doesn't end. I guess he does eventually like do something successful in the football game, but it's not like he all of a sudden like is like sick. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
miraculously something happens. Like
Yeah.
it's like so almost like a, it's like kind of one of those like stories that you've seen a million times, like sort of a Rudy kind of thing, where it's like this guy is never making the team. He's not, but it's done in like kind of a super over the top comic way.
Yeah.
And so that one's really fun. And then Girl Shy is just him being terrified of, of women. And it's super funny because he writes a book in the he's like writing like a how-to book about like how to like make fall in love or like meet women or something, but he's never like he like is scared of women. It's like it's kind of an insane
That's kinda how
movie.
most people do it today also.
Right, it's
Yeah.
very interesting, and I was like, I don't know how you would do it, but there's something where like taking this kind of base concept and like adapting it into like a modern lens, or like even like not even a full like one for one, but like pulling some of this stuff into the current culture, because there is like some like very like incel shit going on in that movie.
Yeah.
Um, but it's very, I don't know, that they're both interesting. I think The Freshman is more successful in its like grand comedy absurdity, but Girl Shy is really, really good as well. And there's perhaps more like interesting things being said or brought up in that movie that like could like The Freshman is basically like you're a fucking loser and you stink and everyone's kind of like making fun of you behind your back.
Yeah.
And Girl Shy has like a little more complexity going on, which I think is interesting. Um yeah, there's like a lot of like funny moments where he's just like in the attic, like typing on his typewriter, and he's just like, you know, typing some like weird stuff about like I
Oh
don't know,
no.
it's very weird. Not like there's nothing like super crazy, but it's just so like there's like a lot of these scenes where like there's just like these women in the room and he's like he looks like he's like seeing like a fucking there's like a tiger or like some like crazy like he like looks so scared like super scared. Um and then there's just like crazy Buster Keaton action set pieces. It's like
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I know like Safety Last is like his most popular film that I haven't seen. I know a lot of people have seen that
Yeah.
one, but like a lot of people like if they have seen that one, they haven't seen any
Any of the
other
others.
Harold
Yeah.
Lloyd films. Um, so I don't know. He's cool. I want to again, like I said, watch more of his work as well as continuing to watch Buster Keaton and watch more Chaplin for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think they're really interesting, like things to study in terms of, like I said, like how to create moments using formal language because ultimately it's just a bunch of scenes tied together like there like the through line there's is there but there's just like the absurdities and stuff like that. You can kind of do whatever in movies. That's kind of what you can kind of take away, a big takeaway from these movies. Like if it wants to start out with him writing a book about how to get girls and then he's like riding on the top of a train, like you can do those things. Like you could kind of you can make that connection happen. You can really do anything, and there's sort of like that
Yeah.
fantasy element to the movie making that's really wonderful, where it's like, yeah, this is just what happens in the movies, like
Yeah.
you can kind of do whatever. But yeah,
I
I only watched those two films.
I was scrolling through my letterbox stats to see if I could find actors that like fit into the mold of what you were saying.
Mhm.
And I think the only person you didn't name that kind of matches that vibe is Adam Sandler, who had like
Right,
20
right.
years of making movies where he
Mhm.
was the same like loser character and they're
Yeah,
all like,
yeah.
Adam Sandler
That's
kind of one of a kind in that
That's a
regard,
that's
like
a good
for
point. I
modern
think
stars.
that's why Sandler's really interesting, because he is like one of those like he feels kind of that old school thing where he is in the same way that I brought up Tom Cruise, like he's in charge.
They're yeah, they're his movies, yeah.
What is the it's the new movie starring his daughter, Roommates, is that what it is?
Oh, I don't know what it's
It's
called,
the
but
Yeah, well, I didn't see it. I think it's Roommates, like The Roommate or something. And I didn't watch it, but I was listening to the director, Chandler. She did I forget what. But I was listening to her talk about it, and she was talking about working with him and just how hands on he was, and like how he was taught. Like he's I don't think he's given his credit, or even I don't even think I gave him his credit for like the craftsman that he is, and
yeah.
like how he really is. He really does care about the filmmaking that goes into these movies. Um, and even if he's not labeled the director, he is super involved, like Tom Cruise is. Um,
Yeah. It
so
is
yeah,
Roommates, by the way,
yeah,
confirmed.
okay, because
I kinda wanna
it's
watch this movie. Why
yeah. I
why
haven't
did Adam why
seen.
did Adam Naiman give it a positive review? Now I'm, like, curious.
Well, the director is she did was it Mile and what is the new
Oh,
it's like
Mile End Kicks.
she did that and then the I Love Movies
And oh,
movie.
wow.
Because well, it was basically like Adam Sandler saw I Love Movies and like was like, hey, I have this thing. It's like a sort of this movie for his daughter. But he Adam Sandler like recruited her for this thing.
Right, I'm like actually
And
kind of curious. Also,
yeah,
Chloe
I
Easter's in
mean,
it.
I think people like are generally less positive about it than Mile End Kicks, but which I want to see that
Yeah, no,
movie. That
not too
movie,
many positive reviews that I'm seeing, but
yeah. But I feel like
I
it's probably a fine movie. I think it sounds more interesting than some like the average Adam Sandler movie, which I think like those are fine. I'm not like, but like the direct, just even having that director alone seems to be an interest. Um, but yeah, I think Adam Sandler is cool. That's a good nod for sure.
yeah.
It would be funny. Like I feel like he'll be really cool. I mean he's feel like he's too old, but like he would be someone that would be like really cool to like because he doesn't really do stunts, right? That's like not like that's where the difference comes
No.
lies. Where he's not like doing Jackie Chan or like I think Jackie Chan's a good like kind of similar thing
Yeah.
too.
I
Like
feel like he has, like because he has, like, kind of the Adam Sandler crew, and I feel like there's always, like, people in his movies, like, willing to do physical comedy, but it's usually
right,
not him
right,
doing it.
yeah,
But, like, I feel
like
like other people do physical comedy
they're
in it.
doing like it's like reminds me of like the show Wipeout. They like just like it's like
Yeah.
that's the physical comedy. It's like them like fucking the look how like we're like fat and like we're 40 or something. It's like I'm like I don't know. They're like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, like,
imagine like
Kevin James is down
right.
for physical
Kevin James is
comedy,
gonna
or, like,
like do
Rob
like
Schneider.
a belly flop on in the pool or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Um,
or like that scene in this isn't even really
it,
physical comedy because they don't actually, like, do it, but, the scene in, Grown Ups where, is it David Spade that gets, like, stuck in the tire and rolled down the hill?
I don't know.
I think
I don't
I
really
think
know
it's
if I've
David
like
Spade.
I've definitely seen parts of those movies. Um,
I've
I
seen so many Adam Sandler
I don't
movies, that's
well, I
crazy.
know a lot of Adam Sandler movies, but like Grown Ups specifically, like I don't have
Not your thing.
well, I just didn't really grow up with it in that way. I don't know if you remember this, but where one of the dates that we shot in 10 dates, right across from it is a Water Whiz. I don't know if you noticed the Water Whiz.
That's
That's where
the
they shot
scene
Grown
from
Ups.
Grown Ups
Yeah,
where
they
yeah,
shot
yeah.
it right there, which is I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, but I was driving past that, like, a month ago, and I was like, "Wait, we our
Is that
filming
the
location
scene? Well,
was
I don't know
right
if you would
across
know this, I
from
guess.
Water Whiz
Yeah.
where they shot,
Is
Grown
that the
Ups.
one where Buscemi goes into
I don't
the
know, but
building?
wherever they shot the Water I think it's Grown Ups 2, they shoot at Water Whiz. That's the
I
Water
need
Whiz
to,
that they
like
shot at.
yeah, if it's Grown Ups too, then it's the scene where Steve
Okay,
Buscemi,
yeah.
like, breaks his whole body.
Yeah, that's
He,
like
like, goes on, like, a zip line and, like, he's supposed to fall into the pool, and he just keeps
I
going.
don't
Like, he
know.
doesn't let go of the zip line, and he crashes into a building.
I don't know. But yeah, that's like right across from where where we shot,
Yeah. No, that's
which is
crazy. I don't know, I don't even remember. I feel like we must have talked about that,
yeah,
or
I
maybe we
don't
didn't. I don't know. Anyway,
craziness. Those are just some fun facts.
some fun facts, yeah.
That's like
Some
one of
little Easter eggs.
The IMDb fun
No,
fact.
actually, somebody should add that.
It's like this
Somebody
is
should put that there.
shot here, right across from where Adam Sandler and Grown Ups
Yeah,
2 or whatever.
that's funny. Uh, I only watched one movie this week that isn't one of the 2 movies we're talking about, and
Okay.
that was seeing Speed Racer in IMAX,
Oh, yes.
um, which was, like, an
Yeah,
overwhelmingly positive
I'm like
experience.
super jealous. This is craziness.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't go. That's
But I
like,
kind of like well, I remember hearing about it, and then like life
I do
happens, and then I was like,
forget with the
oh fuck,
re-releases a
like I
lot.
didn't even like if I knew I would have saw it, like I could have planned for it, but it was one of those things like
Yeah.
I missed. There was like it was like 2 days, and the second
Yeah.
day it was like I can go see it at like 10 p.m. like an hour and a half from my house or something. Like it's like
Yeah, it's
some
not
like
great.
ridiculous bullshit where I'm like I could sacrifice my well being and my schedule, or I could like
Yeah.
be a grown up.
No,
But
they
no,
don't oh, yeah, they don't,
they
I don't know, it's
I feel
tough
like
because
they
they
definitely
usually
are gonna do it
do
again, like, cause I don't
yeah.
know, but that the
It was very
reception was
successful. My theater was full.
crazy.
My
Right.
theater was, like, actually full, um, which is crazy because it was, like, a mix of, like, you know, people like myself, like people, in
Little
their
kids.
20s who are like
Right, right.
cinephiles and like into Speed Racer, but then also like parents like bringing their kids to watch it. So it was like a
Right.
weird like yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of both in the theater. Like I was sitting next to like a parent and like his two kids, but then there was like people
Were they
sitting right in front
vibing
of
with
me.
it?
The
The kids?
kid like loved it. Like there was
Okay,
stuff
cool.
happening in the movie and the kid would like turn to
He's
his
like,
dad and like
"Whoa."
tap him on the shoulder and
Oh,
like point at the
okay, that's
screen.
awesome.
And I'm like,
That's
that's really sweet.
yeah, I
Um,
wonder I mean, that I
it's very
assume then
cool.
if he probably it was his first time seeing it. I mean, you wouldn't know,
Yeah,
but
which is just
I'm
like, no,
just
I didn't
it's
really
kind of
talk to.
amazing. That's an amazing first viewing experience.
Yeah, no, crazy because I never got. Yeah, I mean that's you know,
I hadn't seen it
uh,
in theaters.
yeah, seeing this and because I've only seen the movie once before this, which was not that long ago.
Right.
Like I didn't grow up on this movie, and so when I watched it the last time, I was like pretty blown away. I was like, "That's very cool movie." I watched it this time, and I was like, "This is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
religious
Oh my
experience."
god.
Like, this is
I
I
saw
was
someone on Twitter being like, "What do you like? What do you? I don't get it." Basically, sort of thing. Like this is just a kids movie, and it's kind of like no, like dude, this it is a kids movie. It's like the greatest kids. It's like it's kind
yeah,
of
it's
the
not just
kids
the
movie.
greatest kids movie. It's like I truly was sitting there in the theater and thinking to myself, I was like, "This is kind of everything that life is about, like, in one movie." I was like, not even just, like, the movies, I was like, "This is kinda just, like, the greatest movie that anybody's ever made about just, like, being alive," and I
Right.
was like I was very moved by it because it's, like,
Yeah.
obviously a movie about filmmaking,
Mhm.
which is emotional on its own,
Of
but
course.
then I was kind of watching it mostly as, like, the more blatant like sports metaphor because it is a movie about racing and
Mhm.
like as a sports metaphor it also
Yeah.
is like perfect and then I was also just kind of like this is literally just what being alive is about, dude. Like I was like, dude, literally
Right.
all being alive
Yes.
is
Yes.
like caring really badly about one thing and having the entire world try to ruin it for you.
Right. Right.
Like
Yeah.
like being alive in the modern day essentially is just like how do we prevail and like how do we like find meaning in the world when corporations and
Right.
like
Right.
greedy people are trying to ruin everything around us. And that's literally all Speed Racer is about is
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I like this guy loves this thing and he loves his family
Yeah.
and he's in love and
No, it's beautiful.
and people have money and they
Right,
try to
and they
ruin all of
fucking are
that.
evil.
And yeah, and that's I mean, like, that's I
Yeah.
like to me, I don't know. I was like, this is
No.
and it's
Yeah.
not that like other kids movies about greed don't exist, but
Yeah.
um
Of course.
for it to be made with as much style as it's made with is like a
Oh, I mean
testament to the thing that the movie is talking
uh,
about, Like it's like that's I think that's what sells me
mhm.
on it is that it's not just about all of those things, but it's also like how do you how do I communicate those things in a movie where I'm doing that. Like it's like I
Right.
like you're taking those ideas and then you're being like, I'm going to make a movie that is not like any other movie that people have seen.
Ever.
Like I'm not
Ever.
gonna conform to like the world as it exists. And
Yeah.
like so to make this whole movie about that theme and then have the like meta layer of like actually that's what's happening while you're watching this movie is like
Mhm.
there's no other movies like that. Like
No.
nobody's ever done
It's the
that
most
before.
singular thing, like,
Yeah,
ever.
like
It's
it's
insane.
insane, and that's like I was literally crying, and like I was watching certain parts of the movie, and it wasn't even like an emotional part, and I just started crying because I was like, "Someone made this, dude! Like a human being, like just like made that. Like
Right.
how did like that's so insane." Two human
Yeah.
beings made it, and
Right.
they're awesome,
Oh, I
and
mean, they're, like,
like
the coolest. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I what was I gonna say? Oh, I had something. But that yeah, it's an amazing I've totally lost my thing, but
yeah.
it's I oh man.
It blew my mind. It's truly like
Oh, I was
One
gonna
of
say
it's like one of the best
it's
movies I've
like
ever
the,
seen.
what's it called? The Michael J. Fox, like, Back to the Future, like, your kid you're no, whatever the fuck they say in the Back to the Future movie where, like, the kids will like it in the future. So there's some, like, line where he says something like
Yeah,
that. Like, I mean, the fact that that movie didn't, like, and because it came out, like, right when Iron Man came out, or, like,
yeah,
around that time, and, like, Iron Man goes on, and, like, the Marvel universe has shaped
yeah.
cinema as we know it, and then Speed Racer, like, flopped
It's just
in
like,
a
yeah,
way.
let's never repeat this mistake again.
It's like, dude, but
Man.
now, like, I even just seeing everything on Twitter, not even seeing the movie, but seeing everyone being like, "I love Speed Racer," that was, like, a like you said, like, a religious experience, was super, like, heartwarming for me as, like, I'm just sort of one of the many people championing this movie for the past, like, years. It's cool that it's getting its love now. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, there's people that's always have loved it, but, like, it seems like it's like public reception even has risen in the past 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Um, like it used to like there's still people like they're like what? It's kind of one of those things like where like we talk about this M Night movies too a little bit, but like where there's like a general reception of like this movie sucks, and then people are like wait no it doesn't, and then there's other people that are like still stuck in that thing of like what do you mean I thought everyone thought this movie sucked. What are you guys talking about? Like, this isn't this just
yeah,
like the public? Like, everyone's like, "Oh, that movie sucks," and we move on. And then people are like,
yeah.
"No, what are you talking?" Like, there's always there's still that for sure. We're like, what do you mean Speed Racer? Like that anime movie
Yeah,
or
they
whatever?
must
Like,
be so thrown off by it being released in theaters and
right?
and
They're like,
and
what
and
is going
selling
on?
out
Because
screenings and
it definitely
IMAX.
has like that not to the extent of some movies, but it definitely has like that some people are like what that movie looks like weird. People are like
Oh,
weird
I
about
mean,
it.
I know people still who watch it and they're like I know people who have watched it for the first time recently and they were like, "That looks like garbage," and I was like,
Right, right,
"Dude,
right. And it's
we
like,
couldn't we
do
couldn't
you not have
be."
a heart? Are you not an earnest human
Yeah.
being with a soul?
Like, we couldn't be more different from each other
Right.
if
But
that's
I
your
feel
reaction.
like that overall, uh, more than not has, like, kind of flipped a little bit. Like, it
Yeah.
does have it's like a 3.6 on Letterboxd. I feel like it can
Is it
get
really? I guess it is.
I
Huh.
feel like it should and will rise in the next 3 years or something. Like, I could
Yeah.
see that, like, in 10 years. This feels crazy to talk about Letterboxd in 10 years, but I feel like it could hit a 4.0 one day.
Yeah. It has a 4.0 on my friends' ratings,
Yeah, I
so
think me too. Like the people I and there's some people that I follow that still are like, this
yeah,
is
I
kind
follow a
of
couple people who
like I
give it,
think
like,
the
1 and
whole
2
real not to
stars,
like
and I'm just
brag
like,
on them. I think the whole Real Talk podcast has like threes or under.
"Yeah,
But
I'm seeing this as
I think
well."
if they were to all see it in the IMAX theater in
Sophie
20
also only gave it 3
right,
stars.
right,
What the
which
heck, Sophie? Which
what
we
are we
know
gonna
she's listening.
what are we gonna do? Shout out. No, shout out. Put Sophie in that too. I think if they all saw it in the IMAX theater, uh, with a bucket of corn and a large soda and they could have had the time of their life, and I think they would have raised their score. You know, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you're sitting at home and no one said nice things to you in a while, maybe you're
Yeah.
like feeling bad that day. Maybe you're
Oh,
like fuck
wow.
2 stars.
I also found a 1.5 star
Oh.
from Alex, on the Escape Pod, hat guy.
Oh, see that so
Other
you know what?
other, looks like a
Love
movie
Alex, love
guest.
Alex, but that's like what I was talking about, sort of like where it's like I feel like Alex is just like, oh, like people like, what do you mean this movie sucks? I'm like, I don't know. I think there is people that are still like, oh, it's pretty easy to hate it. And of course it's not for everybody, but um, I think there's definitely a culture of like
Yeah.
this weird fucking movie.
No, it's kinda crazy. I just feel like if you did the math on, people who have been guests on our podcast, the average rating would be like a
Right,
2.5
right. We need to
almost.
bring more Speed Racer. That'd be a
Well,
cool.
actually, no,
I
I
mean,
guess that's not true. I mean, we had John on, not that like, I
right.
had John on
Big
not that long
fan.
ago, and he's gave it a 5, and I think Zach, who was just here pretty
He
recently, gave it 4 or
okay.
5
Cool, cool, cool.
stars, and T gave it 5 stars, so it's like
Right.
there's some balance.
We should do I
There's
don't
some
know, we
balance.
should do I think, we
A
already done a,
competitive, like a
whole,
pod where we
this is a
split.
mini I was saying this is like a mini Speed Racer podcast right now, but, like, we should definitely do a full we get some Speed Racer fans on and do like a real
Yeah.
Speed Racer episode because um Doug, I saw Doug raised his rating after not seeing it for like 2 years or something. Because I think he had like
Yeah.
a 3.5, and he was like,
Yeah.
he raised it,
I
but like
want I
it's
almost want to
definitely
say
a
we should
pro Speed
do
Racer podcast.
I almost want to say we should do an audio commentary, but my biggest issue is that the movie is kind of overwhelming. Like every
Right.
time you
You
watch
just
it, there's
fucking
like a new detail, and like I
crying.
don't think we would be able to talk our feelings out loud fast
Right.
enough as it's happening. So it would just be very disorganized, I think,
Yeah, but I
because
think it
something
could be fun.
crazy would happen, and then something crazier would happen like 2 seconds later.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I I don't know if we can speak at the rate that the movie is. It's a
It is.
fast movie,
It is. It
like
is.
it's a lot of movie.
It's also
Um,
like I was thinking about when even when we were talking about it, I was like thinking about like F1, and I was like, how do you even make a racing movie after that movie exists? It's like, how do you
yeah.
even try?
To be fair, the racing is not the bad part of
No,
F1.
I
Like
know, but
the racing
I
in F1's quite exciting,
sure, sure, that's
but
fair, but
you know,
I if
I
even
mean,
like I
it
don't know,
doesn't look like Speed Racer.
right? Which the Speed Racer has the like luxury of being like we could just be Mario Kart right now, like we could
Yeah,
do like fucking insane shit, and F1 has to be like real racing, which is still
yeah.
cool,
It's also
but like
about a real
no,
thing, you
I
know?
know, but like it's it's like how do you
Sure,
fucking
sure.
how do you
Anyway,
even walk after you saw that
no more
guy run?
procrastinating. We have to talk about Michael. We can't.
Let's just talk about Speed Racer.
Um,
Hmm.
okay, I wanna start
All right,
we're
all right,
going
all right,
from
all
big
right,
picture and then zooming in, right? We're starting outside in. I wanna
okay,
talk
okay.
about 2 things first.
All right,
Number
all right.
1, this movie, Michael,
Michael,
the
you're not
Michael
focused.
Jackson biopic, part 1 of the Michael Jackson biopic,
Jesus.
apparently, uh,
Which
has
that's
now
debatable, I'm gonna be honest.
wait, what'd you say?
It's a debatable like it could just this
Oh,
could be
sure,
it.
sure, sure. Um,
Which
this movie, as of today's recording, has opened to
$1 billion.
$97 million domestically and $217 million globally, the
Oh
biggest
my god.
ever for a biopic and for a live action movie this year. In comparison, Bohemian Rhapsody, which almost
Wait,
made a
has an
billion
animated
dollars,
movie made more?
what happened?
Has an animated movie made more or
I think maybe
what came out?
I what did
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
no, but I think you're
The
I
word
think
live action makes it feel like it's always one of those like
oh,
they
fucking the Mario movie, Super Mario
oh,
Galaxy.
okay. It's
I was
always
like,
one of
that
those
must have
like
been something,
sports things where they're like they say some word in the stat and it's like, well, the only reason this stat works is because
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
fucking put
yeah.
that weird ass
No, but
restriction.
biggest live action opening is a big
No,
deal because,
it's still massive.
and biggest biopic opening is crazy because
Ever,
again,
right?
well, the stat that I
Most
was getting
movies
to
always make
the
fucking
comparison, Bohemian Rhapsody made over $900 million. That movie opened to 51 million. This movie
didn't Doug
opened
say
to
some stupid shit
97
like
million
nobody cares about
domestic.
Michael Jackson anymore? This movie's not gonna
Yeah,
do well.
it
It's
is.
like
No, I know, and here's the thing is, like, I've said for a while, like, I was like, I was saying the whole time, I never once doubted, I was like, "That movie is making
oh,
$1 billion," and
100%.
now it has almost doubled the opening of Bohemian Rhapsody, which
Yeah.
and not just that, but people are leaving the theater raving about Michael. It has no, I'm not kidding, like,
Come
I was reading
on.
the things about the audience scores. The A minus cinema score is not, like, unprecedented, like, that's just an A minus,
I mean, an
like,
A
the
minus.
audience
I'm
response scores for, like, the polling that they do, like, I was reading
yeah.
something about how they're, like, the highest responses in a long time, like, 95% of people, like, left the theater saying that they'd recommend it to someone, and, like,
Yeah.
and the word of mouth is gonna travel like crazy. Like, this movie is going to be doing numbers for the next several weeks.
Oh,
I will not be surprised
this is I don't
if
know.
it
I feel like
easily passes a
yeah,
billion
I feel like we
dollars.
like debated this on the podcast in the past, but I feel like I never doubted that this movie was gonna go nuclear. Like
Yeah,
people, it's just like it's Michael fucking Jackson. I don't
yeah,
know.
dude. People are that again. Yeah, it's crazy because we were having that conversation. I don't even know if it was on pod or off pod about like
Mm,
how famous
yeah,
is Michael Jackson. So that shit. I
dude.
said this, dude. I literally said I was like Michael Jackson is like the most famous celebrity
He
ever.
has
Like
fucking
if
sleeper
you
agents. Like,
if you fucking cut out like world leaders and like, you know,
yeah.
you're looking at actual celebrities, it is
Mhm.
like Michael Jackson tier 1. Like there is like no, like in a
Yeah.
tier of his
I
own.
think, like
Like
I think, like, a part of, like I'm using Doug because I swear this is, like, kind of his thing, what he was saying. But, like, I think a part of it was, like, he was kinda like, his, like, post-death legacy is sort of,
is
like,
bad.
tarnish it. And, like,
Yeah.
in many ways, in many people's eyes, like, it has, but there's a ton of people who will get into it, but there's a ton of people that just, like, don't give a fuck. Just, like,
No,
don't
yeah,
give a
literally.
fuck at all.
That well, that is the other thing. I want to start by talking about the two things, which is number one, the movie is going to make a billion fucking dollars, and number two, there was not just a lot of discourse surrounding the opening of the movie. There was discourse before the movie even released.
Right.
Um, People were very angry about critics' reviews,
Oh,
is one
yeah,
side of
we
it.
gotta talk about
And
that.
then the other side of it, of course, is people debating the controversy surrounding Michael Jackson,
Right,
which
right.
to me is insane, but we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk
Yeah.
about.
Let's start with the
Holy
critic review side of things.
people are stupid. Like,
Which
people don't really know how critics what even a critic is.
no, literally, because this is something I was thinking about. I posted a TikTok, a pretty negative TikTok about this movie, and
You
people in
should
my comments
so
were like,
brave for that. You're
this
so
guy's just doing
brave.
click. I got so no, I know, I got so many comments too. I'm still getting. I think I
Oh
have
my god.
like 300 comments on that TikTok,
300
but
views, 300 comments, like,
no,
fucking
no, no.
all
It's like
negative.
it's the views are pretty good
Oh,
actually.
really?
My views
Okay.
have been ever since I started posting again. My views have been not too bad. I will say.
Nice, nice.
Anyway,
I was
I
just
posted
making it all the views are fucking negative hate comments.
no, and you
Fake.
know what? I will say this is the other thing that I've been very surprised by. Almost exclusively when I post negative reviews of movies, the comment section is like horrific. On this video, on my Michael Jackson
Are there
video,
people being like, "You're
there
right?"
for every negative comment, there are people like defending me and pushing
Oh,
back
okay.
and like
Good,
leaving
good, good.
positive comments and be like, "You're crazy." And I'm like, "Oh, this
Nice. That's
doesn't usually
right,
happen." So
right.
it's like there's a real like two-sided beef going on here over the Michael movie. Which I find so
Right.
interesting
It's
because
very
it's not going to
controversial.
prevent the movie from making all that money.
No.
And the other thing that stood out was like people people in my comment section were pulling the critics discourse into my comments
Right, you were like
and
a part of the critics that
yes, and so like I was observing a lot of these comments and I'm like, man, people are really dumb about
Yeah.
movie critics. First of all,
Yeah.
the there's a this isn't even related to Michael. There's a very like clear issue we have when people will go into, and these are even people who are defending me. People will go into my comment section or like someone we know's comment section and be like, "These critics said blah blah blah." I'm posting a TikTok, dude.
Right,
Like
right, right.
we need to like set the record straight. Like I'm posting TikToks, man. Like this is
Yeah,
not what you think it is. And that's like the core of the issue is that these people are watching my videos. Like someone in the comments defending me was even like, "How can you say this? Like this guy is literally a critic. He like look at all the movies he's watched." And I'm like, "No, I'm
true,
literally not.
true.
I'm
You're
literally not."
literally a critic.
Like
The moment you watch a movie, you're a critic.
and that's like the frustrating part is that like people the discourse like happened because people think that critics exist to tell you like if you should or should not go see him. Like that's not their
Right.
job, bro. Like that is not. And it's never been more evident that the people who are participating in this discourse have not read a critic's review. Like to
Yeah,
them film criticism is a number. And
right. I
so
forget who tweeted it, I did retweet it, but they were talking about, like, how, like, they just look at that number and they're like, "Oh, let's attack it," right? Or like we're angry with
yeah,
this number or we're happy with this number, but no one is going in and reading the review and be like, "Oh, I disagree with this or I agree with this," which that is like a
yeah,
healthy conversation. And we can have those conversations about someone writes something, this is their opinion, that's what they believe, and you're like, "Oh, I don't agree with this, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah," and you can have a dialogue. But it's a lot of just like, it has a 36% and we're upset with that because it's a bad number. but that's not that's why that like the site like that is like a shit show. But like the real
Yeah.
purpose of the critic is just to explain their thoughts and opinions about the movie, and
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, that's and
Yeah.
like, but like
And
when you
it's
don't read their thoughts and opinions, then it's like
And what's
you're just
more
getting mad at the
frustrating is
wall.
that these people use that number to create a dialogue that doesn't exist based on pre-existing numbers. So it's like if some other movie that they loved had like a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, then
Right,
they use that to watch Michael see the low review and be like, "Oh yeah, of course critics hated this because they hate X, Y, and Z." And it's like,
right,
but you're not
right,
actually reading the reviews. Like
right,
you're just
right.
saying that that's what they disagree with without reading them. So like, what do you mean?
It's
Like you
it's
don't know what
also
critics like or
it's also an
dislike.
interesting thing where like these we were talking about we always do this, but we always kind of like feel like these generalize people.
Yeah.
But like I like we me and you know critics. We know they're not like personally, but I mean like we know of critics and their names and whatever. And there are critics, like say like Richard Brody, for example. Like there are movies that like Richard Brody and any other critic, I don't know. Just they're two critics are gonna have totally different tastes, right? And this critic might hate the movie, this critic might like the movie, and I might like both critics and value both their opinions. And whatever. You know, like there's gonna be critics like Matt Naglia or whatever. I'm like, fuck Matt Naglia. Like, but you know, it's like that. I don't care what Matt Naglia thinks. Like, there's right, but we're grouping we're grouping critics. We're being like critics of this like secret society, and they all form and they come together and they decide what movies are good and what movies are bad. Right? That's how it's for like
Yeah.
you. They're talking about you. They're talking about Matt Naglia and Richard Brody, and you're like in this fucking secret Illuminati called like
Yeah.
the critics, right? And
No.
you are hating like the Illuminati of critics are hating on Michael. That's what it's like. That's what they talk about, and it's like no, those are three different people who all have no connection to each other and all watched the movie separately and all came to
Yeah.
separate conclusions about what they thought about the movie. And they're just people who, you know, I looked you in there. You're not a critic, but like that's what's kind of happening. Where critics is this sort of the way that we're talking about it is fucking insane because ultimately it's just people writing about movies they saw and what they thought about the movie. And yeah, there's companies and there's like people work for same papers or whatever. Like it's like, oh, okay, these are critics for the New Yorker or like RogerEbert.com or whatever. Um, but even that, like, I don't know how much like they're like not really like they're still their own opinion. It's
Yeah.
not really like a society or a company or anything like that. It's just individuals. So yeah, no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's frustrating and weird. And then there's the other side of the discourse, which is like, and this is really what hurts my brain a little bit. And like, we don't even need to like spend too long talking about it because the movie doesn't talk about it even. Um, but the controversy that has now surrounded Michael Jackson's life for the
Right.
past however many decades
Yeah.
is
30
is
years.
being like I I'm like a little bit confused, right? Because no, really, because this is one of those things I forgot there was like I think we might have talked about this with Donald Trump on the podcast
Oh,
before,
brother.
which Donald Trump also in the news this week. Maybe we could talk about that in the news
Right,
later.
right. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, it's too funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's so funny because what do you mean they fucking what do you mean they staged a shooting so that he could get his ballroom
He's
made?
like, "What if we only had a ballroom? I wouldn't this
Way
could fucking
that
keep happening."
the way that 400 people on MAGA Twitter watched Donald Trump get shot and immediately opened their phones and were like, "Man, if only there was a ball." Like, there's no way you guys
Oh
eat
my
this shit
god.
up, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh my
That's so
god.
crazy. Anyway,
Yeah,
not
good
the point
segue.
at all.
Good.
I think I similarly expressed on a podcast once when we were talking about Donald Trump how like people all but like people for the longest time accepted that Donald Trump was like a piece of shit.
Right.
It's not like it was like some new thing when he became president. It
Mhm.
was like that for decades.
Right. It's
And
always been
and then like
shit.
it was just like retroactively like, like fixing done. And that's kind of like where I'm at in my head right now with Michael Jackson, because when I was growing up, that like Michael Jackson was literally like the king of pedophile for like a for lack of a better term. Like it was like
Right.
that's how people would talk about Michael Jackson, is like this dude is like notorious
Yeah.
like pedophile.
He died,
And
what, he was 9?
yeah.
So, like, I
And
remember when that happened, but I was 6 years old.
yes.
So, for the most of my life, it's like that guy was just like a creepy. I mean, I obviously I grew up in
Yes.
the music and like the music's cool, whatever, that's a separate thing. But like, you grow up and you're like, oh, that was a creepy, like, there's some
Yeah.
creepy, weird shit going on there. Not really all like something that I mean, I learned some stuff in this movie in general, like timeline stuff, because it wasn't like I grew up with Michael
Yeah, you weren't alive
before
in the
that was
80s.
like
Yeah.
I grew up and it was like everyone kind of associated those things with him. So
Yeah.
I don't have like that like it's
The
kind of like
thing
we have this like thing we especially with the internet, and we definitely like learn uh like even with the what's it the David guy, like I wasn't like a big
yeah,
fan of him or anything like that. Like I didn't really listen to his music, but you're
I
having that
didn't
now.
know
It's
who he
like
was.
people were like, oh, I'm fans of this guy, and now all of a sudden, oh, he's a murderer, and you have that like that evolution of like you think of a celebrity one way, and then you learn more information. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
With Michael Jackson, because I was born when I was born, there was never that evolution of. I mean, I guess in some way, because like when you're a fucking kid, you don't. But like when you're young, still, like I think that was still some like general like knowledge of like he's weird.
Yes.
So you don't have that like decades long
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's the fucking best, and now I'm learning that he has a weird relationship with children.
Yeah, the thing is like, yeah, it's it's hard to make like exact comparisons, because the biggest thing is that people are going to fall back on the fact that he was not like proven guilty in a court of law, right?
Right.
But like
Uh,
it was not like when I was like growing up, and this is even like post Michael Jackson's death, right? Like this is like talking about in like the 2010s internet, right? Like
yeah.
these clips that are now resurfacing of Michael Jackson, and like people going online and being like, "Wow, I can't believe I've never seen this before." I'm like, how have you guys not seen that? Like, I don't, I get it, I guess, but
Yeah.
like, this shit was like, I don't know, like, I had seen like like videos of Michael Jackson being a creep like my whole life growing up.
Right.
And so, like, I'm very thrown off by the fact that people are like this has become, it's almost like, it's not even just discourse. It's like, it's kind of like a new discourse now. It's like the new age Michael Jackson
Right.
discourse. I don't know. It's strange. I don't have much to say because, I think on this podcast, we would all agree that Michael Jackson is a creep. Some people listening to this podcast might not think so.
Debate in the corner.
And if that's the case,
Right.
maybe you're not gonna love this episode. We don't need to
Yeah.
spend a
I
ton of
mean,
time
that's
talking
not
about it.
even like yeah, yeah, exactly.
My
There's a
thing
lot.
is
There's so
like,
many things to talk about.
yeah, no, I know. My thing is that the way that this discourse is occurring makes the people defending him look like crazy people, and it like hurts my brain that they don't recognize it, right? Because the defense of Michael Jackson every single time is like you're defending the weirdest shit imaginable and trying to make it sound normal, and I don't know if you guys realize this. Like that's my problem, is
Right,
like
right.
I'm like trying to help people here, because when you post a clip of Michael Jackson talking about having a child sleep in his bed, and then immediately all of these Michael Jackson defenders go out in defense of that clip, and they're like, "Oh, this is like you guys are trying to frame him. Like you didn't even put the full context of the clip. If you watch the full video, he says he slept on the floor. He didn't even sleep in the bed." I'm like, guys, it's not normal to sleep in the same bedroom as a teenager that you're not related to. Like that's not
Right,
like a
right,
normal thing that people do. Like
right.
the context does not help you. And yesterday I even, or maybe not yesterday, but in our group chat I sent a text about I don't even, am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Those words. Um
What?
he had
What?
he had very
What?
disgusting material in his closet.
Right,
And this
right,
is
right.
like part I think I could say that on YouTube, but anyway, I'll avoid saying it regardless. You
I was
guys
like,
could
"What?"
connect the dots.
Yes.
He had stuff in his closet that was part of the findings in this court case.
Mhm.
And and then the people who defend him online are like, "Oh no, but like you're not even telling the full story. Like that was sent to him by a fan." Bro, literally, why does that matter? Like, why would you keep
Why do
it?
you keep it?
Why would you know what I mean? Like, it's like you guys, the way that you try to defend this guy is like
Yeah.
nuts, and all of this is kind of important context because it goes into why you're defending this movie, which is that like you idolize the artist so much that you can't even think to like engage with media that is critical of him without even like you could make a Michael Jackson biopic that is very critical of Michael Jackson the person and never once has anything negative to say about the music because we could all agree that the music's
Right.
good. You
Right.
know, it's like we had a conversation not too long ago on this podcast about Roman Polanski. I don't have to sit there and every time I talk about a Roman Polanski movie be like, yeah, but I fucking hate that shit because because like it's like
Right.
you could just like the movies. It's fine.
Yeah,
Like
there's,
no,
like that's something you see a lot nowadays, like, in the kind of culture that we're in, where it's like, if the person was bad, you just have to, like, not even, like, fake hate it, but just, like, that you have to like, that's just what you have to kind of and it's like, no, you can, like something and be like, "No, the person who made it is you don't have to like them." Like, those are 2 separate things. Like,
literally
you can
doesn't
like
matter.
the person and you can like the work, or you could not like the person and like the work, or you could not like either, it's fine. But there's, like you'll get that stuff with, like Rosemary's Baby or Chinatown on, like, TikTok, and these people are probably, like, 12 years old, so it's like it's whatever, right? But it's like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I saw Rosemary's Baby and it was horrible," and then I saw who directed it, I was like, "Oh, of course." Right? And it's like the reason why the Roman Polanski thing is so big is because he was fucking like huge. Like he was like one of the best and like most popular and famous directors of all time. That's why people still talk about it. If he was some
Yeah.
like the fucking Jeepers Creepers guy or like some random guy who like even like Brian Singer or like even David O. Russell who still works obviously like these are like fucking weird guys and obviously I'm not like relating them but like in like I'm not power scaling this or whatever anything but, like there's fucking a lot of creepy, weird dudes like Luc Besson, right? Fucking horrible people that we don't talk about in the same way we do with Polanski. And not to like tangent this, but like the reason why Polanski is so fucking massive in terms of like we still talk about how fucking awful he was is because he was really awful and a really fucking talented director. And
Yeah.
sometimes like that tends to
You
fucking
can't say
happen a
the same
lot.
about Brian Singer.
Right, right, exactly. You can't say like Brian Singer just sucked all around. That's
Yeah.
why no one fucking cares.
Yeah.
Um, but like, he did make a lot of great movies. He
Yeah.
was fucking a really bad person. Two things can be true. And
Yeah.
and I feel like that happens a lot with music, with film, whatever. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of like really bad people who made a cool thing.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean the thing is like
And
evil or like
yeah.
like the thing doesn't
And I think
it's
it's
like
harder to
I don't
accept with Michael Jackson because of like what we said before, which is that like you're talking about somebody who's so famous. Like
know. Right.
it's a different Roman Polanski compared to him is
Oh,
like
not even
me
close.
compared to a famous person. Like it's
And
like
it
there's
is
no
different when it's like the thing with Roman Polanski. Like Roman Polanski did act, but like Michael Jackson is singing that song. It's a little different when it's like you direct a movie, which is still like
sure.
it's like the same thing, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like
It's not like forward facing.
where like when you listen to a Michael Jackson song, you are
You're like that's
hearing
Michael.
him
Yeah.
sing the song. When you watch Roman
Yeah.
Polanski, or not when you watch
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby, you can watch it without even thinking about him
Knowing. Yeah.
or
I mean, a bunch
knowing
of people
or
don't.
knowing.
Yeah. No, that's true. But regardless, like we have to talk about the movie Michael, which yeah, all of that is kind of our precursor to like
Right.
the movie, which we both think is
Which has a
terrible.
lot of other
And
issues
yes, and that's like
other
kind
than
of what I want to get into is that like all of this is important context to consider because of how bad the movie is.
right.
Um So
Where do you begin?
I think I think the the biggest, most like glaring issue is that if we were just gonna very broad perspective it, is
Mhm.
that it's not much of a movie at all,
No,
right? It's
it's
like
not a movie.
it's like it's like
Not a movie.
several music performances tied together by like how do we like put out the idea of a story into this movie?
Right.
Like how do we like hint at
Yeah.
the fact that like there are events tying all these things together, but like really you're here to listen to the music.
Yeah.
Um
It's very interesting because I've like listened to some people talk about it and like read some stuff and like the general like idea is like, hey, like none of this is new information.
yeah.
Like even like it's like, okay, let's just recreate the Thriller music video, right? It's like why don't we could have just watched the Thriller. It's like they're like recreating like things that we've already seen, and it's like this is like the most famous musician ever. We've already seen, like we already, like I personally, it's like some things I didn't know. Like I didn't know the name of his monkey or like stuff like that. But like if you, people know this, like this isn't like fucking information that it was hidden or anything. Like you're not like breaking any new ground. It's like we're just like showing you things you already know, but we're like it's like kind of when they do the animated movie live action thing, where it's like we're just
Yeah.
like fucking recreating that shit um as a movie now. But
Yeah.
like everyone knew like that Joe Jackson was a piece of shit. Like it's like so like
Yeah.
yeah, that's obviously
And
something that had to be in the movie, but it's like you're not doing anything.
the other thing is that like these recreations like lack even like the movie context that would make them work. Where it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, movie that I despise, right? Like I
Right.
think that movie
Horrible
is dog shit.
shit.
Horrible
Right.
movie. At the very least, the Live Aid concert that
Oh,
ends the movie is built up to
yeah. Like
by the story. Like you learn about the characters so that the
right.
concert that you're watching at the end
Mhm.
has like some resonance with you as an audience. But
Right.
like when they show you the Thriller, like they recreate Thriller, it's like
Yeah.
there's nothing preceding that that should make me care about the fact that you're recreating Thriller. Like you're like that's
Yeah.
all you're doing is showing me the recreated. There's no like introspection into his character. There's no like, and people are gonna argue that there is, right? Like people are gonna tell me that I'm wrong. I'm not. Like I need to be so clear. I I am not wrong. You're gonna no, because like people are gonna suggest that this movie is about something. It's not, right? There is
R
like there
There are
is
themes, there are things that
there
go on,
are
like
things that they clearly like want the movie to be about. Or that even like you could make an interesting read on. The problem is like that shit doesn't matter, right? Like all this like for example, like you said, like his father being abusive, like that is like the
right.
most clear thematic through line in the movie is like that this abuse happens to him for his whole life. And
Yep.
so then when you get to the end of the movie, you have to sit there and think like what is portraying the abuse that he's been through telling the audience? Like what are we supposed to get out of the abuse that he's been through? And the answer is fucking nothing. Like I'm so like
Right,
really,
right. Oh, right
like
up.
it's like you because the thing is like I think there's actually an interesting angle there. Like I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it is truly interesting and also just factual that the abuses that Michael Jackson would later go on to commit in his life are probably in some part affected by the fact that he was abused as a child, right? He
Yes.
and a lot of this stuff is even in the movie, not just the abuse, but the fact that like he had no friends his age, the fact that like it clearly arrested his development, that he was
Oh,
like there like he struggled mentally as a result of it. And then obviously there's other stuff that's not even portrayed in the movie, like the fact that after his accident he has all of these abuse problems, like drug abuse problems,
yeah.
and like all of that would lead to the wrongdoing that he later did in his life. The
Right,
problem is that stuff's not in the movie.
right.
So
No, I well,
so
the
you
thing is,
can't like actually connect it to anything.
Michael Jackson, has like kind of the craziest fucking life. Like his like even of what we know, right? I said there's not like new information. The stuff that we know about his life is insane. And like if you're never gonna be able to make the movie like the Michael Jackson real fucking movie. But if you were to make a movie it loosely like there's a the Gus Van Sant there's a Kurt Cobain movie that's like not it's
Yeah.
about Kurt Cobain. But like if you were making make a movie and like you gotta like skate some stuff because they're gonna come after you and sue your ass. But like like inspired by like the fucking like rise in full like kind of horrible like it is like the most like being famous is kind of awful like life ever. There's like a really fucking amazing movie in there, but you that is not this movie. Like, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like the fucking like, oh, the dad like
Of
fucking
course.
abuses the kids, and he abuse like this is something you see in like sports a lot too, or like the parent or whatever like abuses the kid and makes them fucking work and practice so much that they become really great. But that like fucking is not you should not do that to human beings, and that has like fucking lifelong effects and leads to X, Y, and Z because sometimes or just like that kind of dynamic. And even in this movie, like I was saying, I said something in our group chat where it was like this movie doesn't dive into anything, but like you said, there are stuff in this movie that like still makes him still have like there's still that and you can kind of pull the strings of like yeah like what you said he has no fucking friends he's wearing like Mickey Mouse shirts and he's got like all these fucking toys and he's like reading children's books and he's got a monkey and a giraffe and like it's like this guy's fucking crazy like this is the craziest life anyone's ever lived ever and it really only exists at like this certain time in the moment where like the money is I was thinking during the movie I was like dude money used to be crazy like celebrities used to be fucking the richest human being. Like that, like money does not like the entertainment industry does not work like this anymore. Like the
Yeah.
fucking people are not loaded like this. Like
Yeah.
some people are, but like this is like a crazy amount of fucking wealth. And it's like so like he's got like a fucking palace with like giraffes and shit. And it's like this is a great like
In
so
Los
there's
Angeles.
right. It's like what the fuck am I? So
He
like
he leaves his house and walks down the road and he's at Griffith Observatory.
it's so fucking crazy. Like it's like even in this movie, in the most sanitized version of his story possible, it's like this guy had the most insane life ever, and it's actually like this is a really interesting like thing to talk about. But because it's made in tandem with his estate, who is like so hell bent on like his legacy and all this stuff, you can't tell you can't even make a movie. You can't even really make a
Yeah.
movie.
It's interesting because so I was reading something about how the movie got made a little bit in regards to his estate, right? And part of uh like the legality of the process was that his estate was like they so the for context, the movie originally like had an ending that
Right.
at the very least addressed all of the like controversy and legal proceedings of like the 90s,
Yes.
and the estate said that the reason why that was cut out of the movie was because one of Michael Jackson's accusers said that they didn't want to be portrayed like legally had like a legal binding that they were like I'm not being portrayed in the movie, and so they had to cut all that stuff out.
Yes.
But and so from that perspective, if that's the only thing you read, then you'd be like, "Oh, the estate actually was willing to portray this stuff,
Right.
but they couldn't." And then you watch the movie,
You're like,
and
bro, they were never doing that
the
shit.
problem with the movie is that like it's not even that it's not interested like a lot of defenders of the movie are going to be like, "Oh, the movie ends in 1988. That stuff doesn't even happen until the 90s, right?" The problem with the movie is not that it doesn't feature all of that.
Right.
It's that there's not a single scene in the movie where Michael Jackson is not viewed as literally Jesus Christ. Like
Right.
he He literally like all this bad stuff happens to him, and then the back half of the movie is just scenes of him like donating money to children's hospitals and like saving people's lives and like and
Yes.
all this shit and solving racism, like solving gang violence and like
Right, right.
all
Which
of
are
that was
like
true. Like
things
all of
he
that did
did, right?
happen. Yeah,
But
but again, it's like how can you take this like incredibly complicated person, depict like the span of what, like 15 years of his life in this movie, and only include like the details that make him look the best that he possibly can. It's a
sure.
little bit difficult to believe that they were doing anything other than
Right.
trying to preserve his legacy, which
Yes. I've seen some like conspiracy theory as kind of thoughts pop up where people are like, I mean, it's like it very much like they never intended like end it the way they said they were gonna end it, and they kind of were like they just ate that money. They were like they had that planned. It's sort of this kind of planned thing where they were like, What's $15 million to reshoot? Let's kind of already budget that and sort of have that be because the weird thing with the movie is sort of like even without that kind of stuff. Like it exists in this alternate universe in many ways where like Janet Jackson does not exist.
isn't in the fucking movie. It's so I get I get that there's like a reason for it. It
She
is
didn't
such
want
a
to be in the movie.
glaring detail. It's weird. It's weird to watch like scenes with him growing up with his family and she's just not there. Like
Right.
I
Yeah. It's
at the
like what if
very
they
least
were
like I
like
feel
it's
like
like
you have to
it was like,
just like
oh, they
have
made a
some.
movie and they're like, oh, it's the Jackson 3 because two of them were like, it's like what do you mean? You can't just like
Yeah.
fucking delete people.
It's so weird. It's I couldn't stop thinking
Yeah.
about it the whole movie. I was like, what do you mean Janet's not in the movie?
And like, so I was reading some stuff, and they're like, oh, a big part of Michael's life is because there's a whole thing where he's like, I want to fucking be on my own. I am a fucking adult, grown ass man, and I want to be on my own and like whatever. And they were something like, okay, they were like talking about how like The Wiz was the first time he was like alone and got to be like that was a big part of his like personal independence. And they did shoot scenes of The Wiz, but because Diana Ross was like, I don't want to be in this fucking movie, Diana Ross, star of The Wiz, like, oh, you can't have The Wiz scenes anymore. And
Yeah.
like, so like some of that is like, it's not like, what the fuck are they gonna do? Right? It's
Yeah.
like, it's tough because there's so many issues with the movie, but then also there's parts where I'm like, dude, you just can't make this movie because like, well, you can, and they did, and it worked because it's gonna make $1 trillion. But the reason why it doesn't work as a movie, a lot of it's like, well, you can't, it can't be a movie because there's real life people that are like, I'm not gonna be in this movie, and you can't tell. It's like when they talk about like Hall of Fame players, like you can't tell the history of the sport without this player. So you can't tell this person's life, and you just remove half the people he ever met. And
Yeah.
with Quincy Jones, like when you think about Michael Jackson, you think about Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones just fucking appears in this movie. He's like all of a sudden in this movie, and I was reading, and they're like, well, the reason why that is, or like they're talking about like Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson met on The Wiz. Well, if you take the Wiz scenes out, Quincy Jones just fucking appears, and the movie operates in the crazy timeline thing where it's like it's doing music, scene, and then like, okay, we skip 8 years. It's like, whoa,
I was just about to say that. I'm like, there's
it
no
like
that's the
jumps like
problem is that
crazy.
they just like picked out it's literally like you know how like growing up in history class you would do an
You gotta do
assignment and
that,
you'd
yeah.
have to read about whatever thing, but like you're not gonna spend, you're spending a week on this unit. You're not gonna
Right,
like
right.
do it all
It's
year.
like those
So you
Stone
just
Notes.
that the teacher shows you a timeline of like this is what happened in this year and this is what happened in
Right,
that year.
right.
That's literally like how the movie's operating is like here's a
Yeah.
scene from 1978 and now we're going to jump to him
Mhm.
doing a concert in 1980 and you can fill in the details
Yeah.
because we're not
And, like,
interested.
because I know who Quincy Jones is, I can be like, "Oh, okay, Quincy Jones is here. Cool, got it." But if you were, like, just an alien and you came to watch this movie, you're like, who the fuck is Quincy? Like, who is this guy? Like, there's never like you don't, and like Barry Gordy shows up. I'm like, oh, I know, I've heard that name, but like these people just kind of appear and like, and it operates in the mode ultimately that you already know all of these things, and you're coming to watch the movie because you like Michael Jackson, and you will like the movie because you can connect the dots. But it to for the movie to function and work as a movie, it needs to you need to understand it if you knew none of these things.
Yeah.
But because it's Michael Jackson, and because everyone knows Michael Jackson, and because everyone knows Michael Jackson, they've probably heard of Barry Gordy, and they probably had heard of Quincy Jones. They can kind of fucking just the
Yeah.
movie doesn't even need to be a movie. It can just be the songs you like and the scenes that you generally already know the vibes of.
Yeah. And the thing is like the argument against this, of course, is scope, right? Like what you said, which is that there's so much happened to Michael Jackson that you can't possibly
Right. That's a
put it all
common
in a
like
movie.
Twitter like what do you
Yeah.
expect it to be 18 hours long?
Yeah. The the
It's like what
problem
could
with that the problem with that is that like other other movies do the things that we're asking them to do with
right.
people who
Well,
also
yeah.
lived long
The
like long celebrity lives.
A Complete Unknown came out what last year,
Yeah.
which is a much better movie, and I think Complete Unknown. The good thing, one of the best things that that movie does is it doesn't try to tell Bob Dylan's whole life in a movie, and even this movie doesn't either. But it has like a okay, we're gonna start here, we're gonna end here, and we're gonna tell the story of this time. And the thing with this Michael Jackson movie is it has that. It's like we're gonna start here, we're gonna start here, or end here, but it doesn't have. It would need so much. Like it's still too big of a scope. Like if they were like, okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
do a movie about Thriller in that like year, or that like the making of that album, or that time like period of time, you could tell all this. Like you could tell pretty much all the things you need to know. But because it's like okay, we're gonna start when he's a fucking 6-year-old kid, and we're gonna go all the way to what is it, 88, and then we're gonna jump like it's too much. It's just too
Yeah.
much, and they're trying to
And the
tell too
other
much
thing
story, and they can't, and they don't. It's like, dude, just make a. I don't know. There's like a really great like I think it's the Peter Hujar's Day. Great movie because it's like it's just a day. And I think
yeah.
that's like the kind of magic where it's a biopic you can't really do a fucking
Yeah, that's
a
a
birth
novel. Like what you're asking is
a
a
birth to
novel.
death biopic is
Yeah.
not possible. It's just it's kind of a crazy concept, and I think the best ones is where you can really capture the tone and the feeling of a human being in a small set of time. I
Yeah.
think
That's that's what this movie is missing is that you don't even I think you even if you were going to do a literal like birth to death like 2-hour Michael Jackson movie, you
yeah,
have to have scenes
rhythm
that
scenes
are yes, like scene
straight
like
up,
literally just
straight up.
you could I could just stop talking there. Yeah. No, but you know what I like what you're describing right, like a complete unknown, the what you get out of the insignificant moments colors the life of the person that you're watching.
Mhm.
And so, like in this Michael Jackson movie, you're not just literally playing the hits, you're playing like the informational hits, you know? Like it is literally just like, how do I do this, 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 and this? Whereas, like, if you watch a more successful biopic, what they're going to do is they're going to, like you said, have scenes that depict things that us as fans have never seen before. And it might just be as simple as like a conversation between two people, but that conversation tells us something about the events like that you don't even have to show. Like
Mhm.
rather than spending the whole movie
Right,
showing the
right.
most popular thing, like showing the Thriller video, by giving us like the intimate details of their life, like you paint the story of their
Right.
life in a way that this movie is never interested in
Yeah.
doing. And so
Li
like that, like if this movie doesn't have any of that, like I'm not gonna say it doesn't try. Like there are scenes, but they don't like do anything. Like it's like he has like a 30-second conversation with his bodyguard where he's like, "Yeah, dude, you should be independent." And like, but like all that, like you
Yeah,
should, like
yeah.
you should
I
separate
think
from that.
one
But
of
they're
my
like,
favorite characters in the movie
The Bodyguard.
is the
Yeah.
bodyguard. I actually I
Yeah.
was like looking up this actor. And I was like, this guy seems really cool. I like this actor. And like I wish they went in more of that because I think the idea of like his
Bill Bray.
literal father figure being like comically evil in like in the craziest way.
Yeah, we
And
haven't even
then
gotten to the
we'll get to it.
performances
Yeah, we'll
yet.
get to it. We'll get to it. But Joe Jackson being Joe Jackson, and then the movie be like, oh, he had like an adult in the room who stood up for him and was an actual father figure
Yeah.
is something to dive into. It is super surface level on that, but like that's something that like I wasn't, I'm this isn't new information in terms of like no one ever didn't know this, but like for me, I wasn't aware of this
Yeah.
guy, and that was interesting to me. And it would be cool for more of that. But
Yeah. It's like genuinely like the only detail in the movie that makes Michael Jackson feel like a human being, like in the movie.
yeah,
Um, without that, without like the scenes that connect the two of them in the movie, I genuinely think it would be the worst movie I've seen in like a decade. I'm not even kidding. Like that stuff saves the movie from being like the biggest
I
piece of shit.
mean, yeah,
Like
it's
no,
really
really,
bad.
because I'm like, how like what else in the movie like makes you feel the things that those scenes feel like? There's nothing. Like
Yeah, no,
they're
I
not
was
even
like, I
trying.
do like, I think that actor did a really good job.
Yeah,
And like I there's like a scene where like I think it's like Michael Jackson is like, I'm done. I'm done or whatever, and then like the Joe Jackson like is like chasing him down the fucking hallway, like he's
yeah,
gonna beat his ass, and he kind of steps in. And it's like no, like he's
yeah,
and it's like it's a really good like kind of character moment of like thank God like someone is there to help
yeah,
him because he's surrounded by a
yeah.
lot of people who
And
I
and
either aren't
obviously,
helping him
like
or don't really like.
yeah. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's like truly
No,
that is the only thing that feels like like someone making this movie like had a thought of like, oh, actually, maybe we should throw like some like real like movie stuff in this in our movie and not just like not just like music videos like that feels like the only detail in the movie where
Yeah,
that
I
happens.
really
This
wish
other
like
stuff is like there's weird like uncanny shit going on in this movie. Like can we like we need to talk about the
okay,
fact that like
okay.
there's all of
I'm interested. What do
like
you
the
what are you getting?
like
So I have
his
some uncanny.
animals
Oh,
like
okay,
the
yeah.
animals are literally just like every like 10 to 15 minutes in the movie they're just like, oh, we should make like a like we should do just like a little joke about how there's like a giraffe in the background, you know, like, and it's
Right.
like what are we doing, bro? I
Yeah.
thought that you I thought like obviously that obviously it's a real detail. It's just like the way that the movie portrays his relationship to his pets is like they're just like doing that to throw in
It's like a
like a couple
comedy.
giggles for the yeah
Right.
for the crowd, and my theater would
It's like one of those
ate
like
that shit up.
studio it's one of those studio notes where they're like, "More jokes with animal."
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
there's like a
it's like
scene
and
where he's like
that's
talking to
all
his
they're there
sister,
for.
and I don't even remember what the fuck they're talking about. It's probably not important at all. But then he leaves and like to go record some music or something, and he's like, "Oh, he's like, oh, she's hungry," or something. Like, it like makes this joke about like how the snake's gonna eat his sister or something. I
Yeah,
don't remember. It's like,
I'm like, dude, this is literally like for babies.
and in the movie, and people are like, "What do you want it to be? 18 hours long?" And there's like, it's like fucking stuff with like random jokes about
yeah,
the
like you
snake
don't need that
eating
shit
his
at
sister or
all.
something.
It's so ridiculous. I'm assuming the uncanny thing that you were going to refer to is the other performances, which,
Well,
or more
I
specifically,
was going to talk about specifically Jafar Jackson,
oh, okay,
and I was talking to Kate yesterday about the movie because I was like, and I was saying like there's a very uncanniness to it that is different than other biopics, where when you watch A Complete Unknown, a part of you is like, okay, that's Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan. That is Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury, and they're doing a good job. It's good performance, whatever, right? But in this movie, because it is played by Jafar Jackson, which with the reason I brought up, Kate didn't know that that was happening, and I didn't actually really register that like it's something that we've known for a while that Jafar Jackson was playing Michael Jackson,
yeah,
and I didn't even really think about it too much. But the more I thought about it as I was explaining, Yeah, it's like, oh, his nephew. It was like, this is kind of the craziest nepo baby like casting thing. Like, we talk about nepo baby stuff a lot. This is kind of absurd that this like
Yeah.
exists, but that's why it's so uncanny because it's like this isn't really an actor, but it's because he's related. Like you kind of forget that it's Jafar Jackson. So it becomes sort of like this like AI like sort of vibe where it like feels like it's Michael Jackson, but it's not. But it really kind of looks like it at times, and it's like this weird. It because it's not like, oh, that's an actor, famous actor playing him, and it's not some random guy. So there's enough resemblance where it's just like really weird.
Yeah.
Where
Because he doesn't look exactly like him.
no, he doesn't,
He
but
just
he
like
looks enough like him, and he's
yeah.
not like some famous guy that you know. That it's just there's something really weird about it that like
Yeah.
through it like it's a very interesting. So there's that element where it's like kind of uncanny, where it's he's enough like Michael Jackson and you don't really have any knowledge of the guy outside, that it's like kind of uncanny. And then it has this element of like it's a movie made by the estate of Michael Jackson, where his nephew is the lead. Then I'm like, is Jafar Jackson going to be in other movies? It's like, what is
That's what I was
what,
just about to say. I'm like, it's
what?
not even necessarily to say that he's not doing a good job, but
No,
it's
he's
just
doing
like,
just fine. It's
does
just the most
does that
insane.
translate into like anything, or is he literally just like like going his only future credit is part two of
Right,
Michael?
right, right.
Like
Because
because
yeah, it's just
I like what else can he do?
right.
Like, do we know? I mean, we
I don't know.
don't,
I've just
but
like I never really even thought about it too much because it was never really like a dialogue, and I think it's very funny because we like I mean the nepo baby thing is like such a big controversial kind of thing, right? And it didn't. I never really even set in fully that it was like his nephew. Like I knew it, right? I knew it, but I never even thought about it for 2 seconds. And the more I think about it, the weirder it kind of sits with me, because that's just not how it's been. Like that's just not the norm. And for it to be this huge
yeah,
movie, it's very interesting. Um, and because they're so involved, I think that adds another layer into it because it's like, okay, if you're gonna do a movie about how Michael Jackson is a pedophile, or even if it's like doing a movie that's Michael Jackson's a little fucking weird, right? Or like he may not have been a saint, and then have the nephew play him, then things get a little complicated. But because it's like this super sanitized version of protecting the legacy, and it's the nephew, it's like it all comes together in this like weird thing where it's like, oh yeah, of course they were never gonna, and I don't. It's like we all always knew this, right? We never expected this to be some movie that was critical of Michael Jackson or anything like that. But because it's the estate and it's the nephew and all these things, it's like
yeah.
it becomes not a
Also,
movie. It just becomes not a
I
movie.
I forgot about this. I forgot about this detail because I was having a similar conversation off pod with
Oh yeah,
somebody talking about this performance, and so it reminded me that when I looked up Jafar Jackson on Letterboxd, I saw that he is attached
wait,
to an untitled Tiger Woods biopic, which is crazy.
what?
This and I did a little bit more reading. This I don't know why. Okay, so walk with me here. They they announced this untitled Tiger Woods biopic, which
Or Michael Jackson.
The Obamas are producing it.
Oh my god.
They announced this like a year ago, so this is like who knows if it's actually going to get made. It's supposed to be directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, who did both King Richard and the Bob Marley movie. So like this guy makes biopics. Um,
Jafar
and
Jackson Oscar for playing Tiger Woods.
no, but here's the thing is like on Letterboxd,
Yeah.
he if you click Jafar Jackson's profile on Letterboxd, it says he's playing Tiger Woods like on his credits. But when you click the movie, there's not a cast attached on Letterboxd. And when you read about the movie, like when you read the articles from when they announced the movie, they didn't have Jafar Jackson's name
Okay.
connected to it. So I have no idea why Letterboxd
Right.
has it under Jafar
I mean,
Jackson's
I'm like,
credits, but if there's
goodness.
like some
Yeah.
rumor out there that that's what he's going to be doing after this movie, And if that actually comes true and he's playing Tiger Woods after this, that's crazy. That's like
You
a
know
little
what?
bit
Like,
insane.
here's my thing. Like, because normally, like, I don't give a fuck about like the nepo baby stuff, but I think this one's so egregious that it's like, come on. But like, if he was just like Tiger Woods first, it'd be like chill. It'd be like chill, like,
Also,
you know.
but I mean, if he plays Tiger Woods after and he's like good in the movie, I'll just be like, okay, I don't really give a fuck.
Sure.
Like, man,
I feel like
it's not like
this
again, it's like I don't even think
kind of
he's not bad in this movie. A lot of
right.
people are like saying he's really good, and I'm like,
Chill
he's
out.
he's
He's
good.
fine. He's
He's
fine.
like
He's
he
not
also
the problem. That's you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to phrase it, is that he's probably the least offensive part of this movie. Even considering the uncanny, like,
Okay, you
AI
talking about
depiction that
Coleman
you're talking
Domingo?
about. Yeah,
Yeah, no, but yeah, it is like I don't know. It's like it's not his fault, but do you know what I'm saying about that? Where it's like
no, I get
it
what you
is
mean.
like
It's like there's a weird
you
it
look at
feels
it and you're
weird
like,
when you're
oh, it's
watching
Michael
it.
Jackson, but it's
It
not.
feels it
But
feels even weirder in the exact recreations. Like, it's one thing when he's, like,
right
playing like, in scenes talking, when he's, like, doing, like when he's performing in the movie, I'm like, "Oh, now it's getting
because they use like
very
I'm pretty
strange."
sure they use like Michael Jackson singing, and they like do like the combined thing where like you're hearing
Right,
Michael
yeah,
Jackson, you're hearing him like so like it's yeah.
yeah.
I also
Coleman
think like
Domingo is the
before we
real
get into that
uncanny
though, because
part.
you just we talk about the performances, like you talk about the Live Aid thing, and like I mean, I think the performance stuff in Complete Unknown, like blast this out the water. And you can like
Yeah,
debate on like the music, like if you like the music more or not. But I think like just like I think the performances in this movie are so forgettable. Like or not
I
like not
I
even like
couldn't
it's like
I couldn't
in
agree
terms of like
more. So many
the
people
musical like whatever you want to call it, like the he's
no,
on the
so many
stage.
people
I'm like, is
in
this like I will get back to the talking monkey or something.
no, I literally like, there are
Like,
so many people who, even when I posted a TikTok about this, right? Like, so many people's comments defending the movie, they're like, "Oh, I could see how X, Y, and Z is bad, but the performances are outstanding. Like, I just had so much fun." And I'm like,
right, right,
what did you have fun with? Because that's the thing is, like, the music's terrific,
right.
right?
But, I
But,
mean,
like
you can just listen to
but
music on
the yeah,
Spotify.
but, like, the recreations of it, I'm like, how are any of these exciting to you? We haven't really talked about the directing, but, like, when you're watching the performances, there's not like there's not like an energy that reflects the fact that you're watching like a Michael Jackson performance. Like,
Right.
the way that it's
There's
even though
no
even the cuts to the crowd are so they
it feels
feel
it
so
feels
weird.
there's no level, like, there's no, gravity to anything. It's
Yeah.
not like it's we talk about, like, "Oh, it can be 18 hours," sort of thing. It almost feels like the movie is cut in that way, where it's like, there's so much we have to talk about that we can't even stop and play Billie Jean. We can't even stop and, like, really
Yeah.
play like, we really can't, like and I'm thinking about, like, I haven't seen fucking Bohemian Rhapsody in so long, but I feel like that movie even had, like, a level of, like, this song is really important, and we're gonna treat it like that. And, obviously, you know that, like, these songs are important, and you're gonna be excited that they're playing, but the filmic, like, language of the movie never really, like, feels like, "Oh, this is really, like, oh, here we go." It
Yeah.
just kind of fucking happens, and it's like
Yeah, it just, like, exists. Yeah.
right? It, like, we're, like it feels like we're, like the movie here we go. The movie feels uninterested and bored of Michael Jackson's music.
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
it's, like, not really that interested in Michael
Someone
Jackson's
quote
music,
that.
and which is crazy because it's barely about his life either. It's, like, not
Yeah.
even like,
It's like, that's what's selling tickets,
the movie
is
is so
like
sanitized that it's not really interested in Michael Jackson. Or his
yeah.
music. And, like, so it's like, what is the movie about?
It's just
Nothing.
yeah, it
It's
just
like
exists.
it's like,
It
what?
just exists, but also it kind of doesn't exist. This is probably the most nothing burger $1 billion movie that's ever
Yeah.
existed because it's, like, not a
And there was,
movie.
like, what, Super Mario Bros. Or something like
Yeah.
this
No,
in
but the
that
thing
movie, I
is,
would
like, with
watch for days.
those movies have no soul, but also, like, those movies,
Like,
I don't know, I could almost
Mario
forgive it
Mario
a
is,
little
like,
bit.
not a pedophile, so
Yeah. At least as far as we know. Yeah, you're correct.
so
Um, Coleman Domingo
okay, yes, now I'll do this.
is, like
Oh man, I love
Made
him
me
and
very uncomfortable in this movie. Also,
which
his press made me uncomfortable.
I
I
didn't
didn't really
see that
when he
one.
was doing press and, like, he got asked about this stuff, like, the way
Uh,
that I don't know, just the way that he talked about it, I was like, "Oh, I don't really know if that's how I would have
right.
answered that question," but it's fine. We like
It's
Coleman
also,
Domingo,
like,
but
it's tough because it's, like, I know there's, like, snipers, like, ready to knock him out whenever
yeah,
so it's, like,
yeah.
I don't know, it's, like,
No, I know, I'm trying
I
not to
haven't
be
seen
too
what
hard on him
right,
because it's like,
I
what's
haven't
he
seen
gonna
what he
say?
said, but
But
it's, like, he could get shot if he says the
yeah.
wrong
No,
thing.
yeah, like, that's very true,
He
yeah.
signed some evil contract, which also
No,
that
I
is
know.
on him for signing that fucking voodoo contract, but he's
Yeah.
in it now, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, he's stuck.
But,
No, but
yeah,
in the
I think
movie, it's like
it's a really bad performance.
it's really hard
Um,
to watch.
and Joe Jackson does kinda like that's, like, kinda what he looks like. He looks crazy, though. So it's like, I don't know, there's one that's, like that's a part of it too.
It's more
It's like
uncanny
Joe
than the
Jack
Michael
it
Jackson
is
thing.
he looks not like a real person.
Yeah.
Um, and, like, Joe Jackson, he does look like Joe Jackson, but it's
Yeah.
like but he also doesn't look like a real human being, and you put that with the, like, performance that feels like he's a fucking supervillain, which he kind of in real life is or was, but it's so, like, tonally kind of crazy
Yeah. The
because
other
he is on 10 the entire time.
yeah.
He's
And Joe
fucking
Jackson kinda
are you
Joe
looking at
Jackson
him?
kinda looked like, less of a human being. It's
No,
like
Joe
Joe
Jackson
Jackson
he looks crazy.
yeah. Like, but the way that, like, Coleman Domingo looks in the movie is like I don't even know how I could put it to words. It's like it's a very strange recreation
Right.
of what Joe Jackson looked like is what I would say. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's just it's never not distracting
Yes.
and it doesn't even get at like the root of the problem, which is that like the performance is just as bad as the look.
Right.
So when the two are combined, it's like unwatchable.
Yes.
Um
And it's very like you have this like uncanny valley Michael Jackson, and then you have like
yeah.
super fucking villain, like you looks
Yeah.
like he's out of like SpongeBob, fucking Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
It's like a SpongeBob where they have like the human, like the
Yeah.
realistic human fucking like
It's
it's
yeah,
oh my god. Just
it's
everyone else
difficult.
looks normal.
Yeah, everybody else just like they yeah.
Everyone else looks like human beings.
It's like not
Uh,
super uncanny.
and then you
Yeah.
just have like
Even just like his, even just like his brothers, I'm like, oh,
right,
there's
they
just
just look
like
like
yeah.
normal people. Um,
Yeah.
which
Which is I mean, to be fair, also less recognizable than Michael Jackson.
sure, and I mean,
Like
Joe
nobody's
Jackson again,
really
it's a very specific look. So, uh,
yeah.
but he could have just looked like Coleman Domingo. Like they could have like went like they could have just done less, and like
Yeah.
we would have forgive him. Like no one would have been like, oh, he doesn't look like Joe Jackson at all.
No,
Like no,
because it's like it's almost like by trying to replicate it, it's just like
right? It's like
you really
he
go
could have just looked
wrong.
like Coleman Domingo and like done like
Yeah.
light prosthetic work. There's actually like what something I look that I don't know like again like it's just a random fucking guy, but Mike Myers is in this movie and he
Yeah.
plays like the guy who I forget what
Uh
his exact role is, but he calls MTV and he's like, if you don't put Michael Jackson on MTV, I'm pulling all my people. And there's like prosthetic work obviously there. Like he doesn't look like Mike Myers. I didn't know that was Mike Myers when I was watching the movie.
Oh,
Which
really? He showed up and I was like, "Fucking Mike Myers again, dude." I was like, "This guy."
really, really. Maybe if I wasn't really thinking that because it's
I
like
don't
he's
know
in like
why. I
one
just like
scene and
no, yeah.
I was not like, is that
The
Mike
second he
Myers?
popped up on screen, I was like, "Fucked."
And I thought like that prosthetic work was fine.
Sure, yeah,
It's like what that's just something that popped in my head because most of I guess I mean I'm Jafar I'm sure has some things going on there. Like he
yeah,
has makeup and hair and whatever.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, the Coleman Domingo stuff is kind of jarring.
yeah,
What is it? Nia Long is his mother. Is that who's playing his mother? I think she did a good job. Like I think overall, like the performances outside of Coleman Domingo
yeah.
are
Shout out
fine.
Miles Teller, my goat.
So Miles Teller is the kind of the funniest person to be involved in this movie, just
Yeah,
because,
because
like,
he's just like
he's
Miles
playing
Teller.
it's like a nothing role. It's like a nothing role, and he just shows up, like, I don't know, maybe there was, like, a third of the movie left, and it's like, "Oh, I fucking forgot Miles Teller was in this movie," and then he shows up, and he's just Miles Teller as, like, his
As John
manager.
Branco, yeah.
Right, it's like, "Oh, I'm just Miles Teller," and it's just, like,
Yeah.
it feels, like, so bizarre because we're talking about, like, okay, Coleman Domingo is draped in prosthetics, so he's not a real human being. Then you have Jafar
That's
Jackson.
just Miles Teller with hair, bro.
Right, it's like you have we have this kind of world. We have this kind of world where, like, there's a lot of, like, unknown actors. There's, like, some people, like, who are, like, kind of, like, in roles, and then it's like Miles Teller just shows up, and he's in
Yeah.
this room. There's, like, the scene where they first show Miles Teller, and he's in this room with all these other people, and it's like, there's just Miles Teller. It's just one of the guys, and he's
Yeah.
like, "The Beach Boys?" And Michael Jackson's like, "I like the Beach Boys." It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, shout
That shit
out.
would have won you over too.
No, I was like,
If
this
you were
scene's about.
Michael Jackson and he said that shit to you, you would have been like, "Yeah,
No, I
this is
was
my
kind of
guy."
vibing, like, there's the movie's kinda funny because it's like, Michael Jackson's like, "I love Charlie Chaplin,
Oh,
I
I
love the
know.
Beach Boys, I love Vincent Price movies." It's like, dude, this guy kinda rocks.
Yeah, you're like, "Well, damn."
He's like, "I love scary movies, I love old silent movies, Beach Boys
Yeah.
rule." Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
man.
He's like it's like the most random stuff in the movie, where it's like
Yeah.
watching Charlie Chaplin eating ice cream with his mom. I'm like, "This is the life.
I
This is
I
fucking fun."
imagine yeah, I imagine Miles Teller will play a bigger role in part 2. I also think we do have to talk about Mother Mary a little bit,
Right,
so
right,
before
so
we
we
wrap
should.
up, the only thing
Fuck,
that I'd
there's
mention
there's so much of this movie.
yeah, the only thing I'd mention is the his story continues at the end, they've already, I think, begun working on part 2 is
Well,
my
so I'm
understanding.
confused. I'm, like, confused, because apparently there's all this stuff shot, and,
Yes.
like, there's, like, behind the scenes footage and stuff, and, like, there's, like, photos of Jafar Jackson with, like, a paler look,
Yes. But the
so
movie, like, hasn't been confirmed yet.
which is confusing because it's like, was this, like, stuff that they were originally putting in this movie, or did
Yeah, I
they
don't know.
because if the other movie isn't happening or confirmed, it's like, why did you already shoot stuff? Because it's what I'm saying? It's just weird.
Yeah.
So, because it's gonna make $2 trillion, and because they've already shot stuff, it makes like, it's in you compute those things together, and it's like, okay, obviously they're gonna do a part 2, but because it's like, how do you do a Michael Jackson part 2 without getting into any of the crazy stuff?
Yeah, it's like that's the whole part 2.
Right.
And that's also makes it so much weirder because this is the strange precedent that it sets, which is that like you're going to have this massive movie, like this massive movie, and then what do you how do you add to that box office gross? It's like, yeah, we're gonna do part two, and it's all the pedophilia. Like it's
It's
like
like
what you know what I mean? It's like what do you like that movie's
yeah,
not gonna make $1 billion, or it is, but it's just like what like it's really weird to do like this very sanitized like 2 hour Michael Jackson movie and then be like, okay, and then
and
come back for part two where we learn about all the bad
the
stuff.
next one is a John Grisham style court thriller where Michael
Yeah.
Jackson
It's
wins,
like
and he's
what
actually the whole movie is like, he didn't do any of that stuff, and it's
like what's gonna happen?
it's like
It's
the
so
Joker too.
bizarre.
It's like the
And it's even
Joker.
more bizarre if like if they really did it. I think from the like they knew always that there was gonna be a part two, but like it would be very bizarre for
Well
them to not know and then to just end this movie by saying his
well,
story
that's why it's
continues.
weird,
Like
because
that's like
all of the stuff we've talked about in terms of the way this movie was made, it is made in a way that feels like they don't wanna talk or do anything post this. Like, it's
yeah.
made it like where it's like, this movie what should never have a part 2, but because they end it with his story continues and they've already shot all this stuff, it's like,
Yeah. But it's a very weird way considering all the controversy. It's very weird to cut it right before that and then end the movie with that. It's like that's a real
yeah.
it's got real weird like cop out energy, but then it's also like if you do make the part 2, like now I feel like they get into this moral battle of like if we're going to make the part 2, then it has to be about that. But
But
then
it
they're
has to
probably
be
also
about
considering
how
like
he is an angel, and these
yeah.
things are it's gonna be like something like about it has to be like anti all the people who came forward, like anti
Yeah,
anyone
and I'm
out
like,
there.
this is.
It might be like
I
the
feel
second
like
movie could be like the evilest movie ever made.
no,
It
I
could
know that's
straight
what I
up
was just
be
about to say. I'm like, I feel like what we're setting up for is like actually the most despicable movie that anybody's ever made, with the exception of like, or I should say, like the opposite effect is that like they do just lead into it, but I don't know how that happens. I can't imagine the world in which they're like, actually, we are gonna portray like
right.
be critical of him.
And it's like, okay, if you didn't want to do that era, right? Then why did we time jump so much? Like they could have done like
Two
they could
parts
have
with
made,
just
they
yeah,
could have made like this movie be like just this could have been like the Jackson
yeah,
5 kind
yeah.
of, or like early
Also, it
Michael
just like would have
Jackson.
made more thematic sense if we spent
Right.
more time with him as a kid.
You do like his
So
first you do like his first two albums, or like like it's like that era,
yeah,
and then the last half of this movie could have been the other, I don't know.
yeah, like through
Because like
1988. Yeah,
the thing
if
with
you
the Bob
wanted.
Dylan movie, like people joked about part two, but like that movie makes way more sense to do part two, because you could make like five movies of, or like you could make like five movies of Bob Dylan of just like different eras, or you could do that
Yeah,
with Michael Jackson. You could have a lot of people, but because they stretch so long, it's less focused in a way that like lends itself to multiple parts.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Fucking
It's
too
weird.
much Michael Jackson.
Uh, Mother Mary is the new
Right.
David Lowery movie, starring Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole.
Michaela
Uh,
Cole.
this I feel like this movie deserves a more interesting conversation than the one we're gonna have, but that's just the nature of us spending
Okay.
over an hour talking about
Right.
Michael. So, I would start by saying that I both liked the movie and feel like I'm unsure about a lot of it.
Mhm.
Um, there's like a yeah, I don't know. It definitely was not what I was expecting, which I don't know why, because I've seen other David Lowery movies and
Alright.
it's not exactly like that strange for this to be one of his movies. Like it just makes perfect sense that this is one of his movies.
Yeah.
Um, but I still was a little bit thrown off by
Mhm.
all of what the movie is. Um, I don't you really liked this movie.
Yes.
So, what does that stem from most?
It's very interesting because I David Lowery is a filmmaker with that I'm not
Yeah.
like totally attached to, and I haven't seen a lot of his movies. But the movies that I have seen, this and Green Knight, I think are the only two. And I haven't seen the Green Knight in years. But I remember when I saw that movie, I was like emotionally very affected by it. Like a very kind of, in like a way, like I was like, I really will relate to this movie. I'm kind of seeing myself in this movie. It's making me feel things. And at the time, like I was like, oh, this is really technically interesting, but also like even when I look back at it, I'm like, there's nothing specific like formally or like technically that I'm like I remember, but I would just remember being affected by it. And I feel the
Yeah.
same way with this, where I'm like, I watched this movie and I don't really like, there's some interesting things I can point out, right? But I just leave the movie being like, that really resonated with me and it affected me super emotionally. And I think I'm interested because I have not seen a ghost story, but
You would like it.
I do really want to watch it because I was listening to Roger Deakins podcast, the Deakins podcast, where they have
Oh,
David
yeah.
Lowery on there, and I was listening to this podcast, and I was like, I might really like that movie, and I think David
You
Lowery
would.
seems like a really interesting guy, and I think like we have some like he was talking about films, and I was like, I forget what films he was talking about, because there was like some he was pulling some random shit out of his ass. It might have been the Gus Van Sant. I think he was talking about the Gus Van Sant Death trilogy. And I don't. He didn't say Jerry by name, but like he brought up that trilogy, and I was like, you know what, shout out. Like you're pulling some stuff that I really vibe with. So I think like something like I feel like I just feel like this is a filmmaker that like I connect with in a way that's beyond technicals and just purely
Yeah.
like the stuff that he's talking about resonates with me. At the same time, right? One of the big reasons why I haven't watched a lot of David Lowery movies is he has a lot of films that this has nothing to do with the actual films themselves, but they are aesthetically repugnant. These are films that you know you call me whatever. I do, especially with movies. There's only so many movies, and you can only watch one at a time. Sometimes I'm judging a book by its cover, right? I'm literally
Yeah.
like the poster or the backdrop or just a few select images, the trailer or whatever. You might see a trailer and a poster and be like, that movie looks fucking awful. It could be a movie I like, but there's some movies that he has that like it's like this aesthetically looks fucking like not something I would vibe with. And
Yeah.
he
Name one.
has um Peter Pan and Wendy,
Oh, sure.
right? Something like that, right? Where he has this career where he's doing a lot of like one for him, one for me sort of thing. But
Yeah.
and those things look like Pete's Dragon or something like I could totally get down if someone was like, dude, Pete's Dragon and Peter Pan for Wendy are pretty solid movies. I could believe them. And they could be. I don't know. But just the general promotional materials or just like select stills or trailers of those studio movies really throw me off. And so that leaves me being like, I don't know about this filmmaker. I'm not really interested in these things, but the ones that I've seen really resonate with me. So I'm like kind of at a weird place with him where I'm like, maybe this is a guy for me. And he's 45, so he's on the younger. It's something crazy but it is a younger side of filmmakers, and he is still a rising filmmaker. I mean, you could
Yeah.
be a rising filmmaker at 60 if it's your like whatever.
Yeah.
If it's more about films made than your age, but he's still kind of finding his place in the industry, I think. He has like the Green Knight was pretty big, and like he's getting more big now, but he's still, I think, like he's rising. So who knows? I'm very interested in him, and I think this film kind of cemented it as like, okay, I gotta kind of accept that like I do vibe with him on sort of a thematic level. Um, it was a movie that I was like, I was interested in it on like a vibe thing and like a cast thing. But I do think I liked it more than I expected to. And it's purely in terms of like, I watched this movie. There's probably like two people in the theater.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I had like a full physical reaction to it. Like,
Yeah.
I was the whole movie. The whole movie kind of had me in a way that like there is a vagueness to it that I think is really effective. And I
Yeah.
think there's something very beautiful in vagueness that you really can. A lot of people are going to relate to this, and a lot of people are going to relate to this in many different ways because I think it really touches on a billion things, and it's very obviously like personal to Lowry. Um, and but I think you can relate to it in many different ways. But I think like the artistry, and the kind of the mental and physical toll that can have on somebody, and then also the shared relationship of creation, and then the kind of almost like soul bond thing that happens with that, and then the soul bond leading to sort of this really painful stuff. And there, I mean, there's a lot to kind of dive into that, but that as like a core concept is really beautiful to me, and I think that was really resonating with me. And I think there's a vagueness, but I think also like the dialogue to me was so beautiful, and it's vague, but it there's a beauty in vagueness because the sentences like it's like a song. It is, it's a movie about a musician, but like there's a vagueness in a pop song where you can listen, me and you could listen to a pop song and we could hear those lyrics and we could both feel two different things, and but like they both
Yeah.
really resonates with us. And I think that's something in the dialogue that really worked, where it was like it had that vagueness, but there was power in it, and you really felt, and you really felt a certain thing because of those lines. Um, so you have that, and then you have these really kind of powerful, gripping performances that I thought were great. And then there was like some really interesting, like kind of visual language stuff. And I like do really like appreciate the giant plane. I really do appreciate this the minimalism of the film. I wasn't really aware or really didn't even go into it expecting that, because you have this like she's a pop star and you have all these like big concerts and stuff, and you go to that, you kind of go in and out of that, but it's really minimal in a way that I wasn't expecting. But I know Lowry does tap into that kind of stuff in some of the films I haven't seen, like A Ghost Story, for example. Holy shit, it's loud.
Oh damn.
They're coming for me. But me, I love minimalism, and I kind of really like it was a stage play nature to it, in the way that like we're in this room and then like the lights turn on and all of a sudden we're in another room, but we're still in this room. I think that was stuff was really wonderful. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of a long spiel, but like my general feelings on the movie. Um,
Yeah.
but I thought it was beautiful.
I I think my reaction was mostly the same. I think what I definitely agree on the point that Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole are doing good work.
Yeah.
I I think specifically, I thought that the visual language of the movie was pretty great. I really liked some of like the larger set pieces involved. There's like a scene kind of halfway through the movie with a lot of like shadows and like moving like we kind of transition between like the talking and like
Yeah.
the way that we kind of move between the like chamber piece stuff and then like these big set pieces is interesting to me. So that stuff was very like captivating. I I struggle to respond entirely the same way to the vagueness of the dialogue that appealed to you so much, because to me, I it's not necessarily that I was much more interested in how it's presented than in what it's saying
Mhm.
almost. Where like there's a scene um where Michaela Cole's character asks, and like they're having this long back and forth, and then she asks her to like perform, and then like Anne Hathaway just like performs this very
Yeah.
physical performance, and I'm like, that's way more fascinating to me in how it progresses the story than a lot of
Mhm.
the actual like meat of the conversation, which to me, the I I personally, like sitting here right now, can't actually recall almost any of like what they talk about for most of the movie.
Sure.
Um I think what lasts about the movie is the ending, because it very directly expresses to you all of the themes that you were hinting at, right? Like about friendship and like the pain that could be derived from art and like all of this stuff, and
Mhm.
like this haunting like friendship that
Yeah.
happens between the two of them. But I think it makes it very explicit to a degree that like the conversations that precede it, for me, I don't know how much they actually matter in terms of like words spoken. Like, I don't know how much of the conversation that they're having matters in the end when I get the repetition of like how obvious everything is in the ending. I would have like almost preferred it to like continue to be vague in the ending, if that's what
Yeah.
you were if that's, like, kinda what it was going for, or for the vagueness to kind of, like, still weave in something that connects me more to them as characters,
Right.
because I think that that's kind of missing here, which is that, like, it is vague in a way that I think is kind of interesting, but it's also vague in a way that I'm like, technically anybody could be doing that. Like, it's cool that you have like two of the great living performers doing
Right.
it, but technically, like, I don't really, I don't really know that it's like getting getting at them on like a character level. That's
Mhm.
interesting. Something about the Green Knight is that like it also has a lot of the same qualities, and there's obviously like a lot of like metaphorical dialogue in the Green Knight. There's
Yeah.
a lot
Oh
of like
yeah.
stuff happening where you're like, oh, I don't really know what this means, but like, but they are still like really deeply felt characters. I think like you
Sure.
know what I mean. Like in that movie, I'm like, oh, there's there's more going on than just the metaphor. I don't To me it like it kind of starts to get a little bit repetitive in that dialogue and like so serious about this metaphor that I was almost like a little bit blindsided when the ending was just kind of like, oh no, here's what it is. And I'm like, oh, so
Yeah.
why did I kind of like
That's fair.
why did I sit through all that? And again, it's like mostly I sat through it because the performances are so compelling and because like the way that it's physically conveyed to me is like interesting, but I don't know. Like I don't know if it needed all that, and I don't know if it actually like changes my perception of anything. I do think that the vagueness is true to your point where like I connected to the movie personally in a way that if it was less vague, I probably wouldn't have.
Right.
But like, yeah, I don't know that the monologuing necessarily like is responsible for that. Like I think I would have just projected that onto the ending of the movie kind of regardless.
Yeah.
Um and so yeah, I don't know. And it's weird cuz it's like I'm not even necessarily saying that like doing the movie like that is bad, right? Like, you know, I messaged Doug before the pod because he wasn't going to be on the pod, and he
Yes.
mentioned that like what he likes is this like Bergman esque like dialogue that's occurring, and I'm like, yeah, I like that stuff too. Like in the Bergman movies I've seen, I'm like, that's very
Right.
compelling,
Right.
but that feels a lot different than what this is to me.
Mhm.
And it even feels different than like other very talky two-hander. Like I tend to like a movie where you just put two
Oh
people in a
yeah.
room and have them talk to each other for an hour, you know? Like I think that that's just like compelling. Um I just don't know that all of that works for me here, which is not to say I didn't like the movie because I think everything else kind of does work, is my takeaway. But I yeah, I kind of struggle to like, uh, I don't know, like I have conflicting feelings about those two things where I'm like, oh, like everything else in the movie is compelling, but I feel like I sat through, 45 minutes to an hour's worth of content that like didn't necessarily change the outcome for me.
Sure. Yeah, I saw your TikTok about this, and I I feel like I don't really entirely it's like something like I'm like I have to rewatch the ending of the movie because when I'm like remembering the movie, I don't really know exactly what you're talking about in terms of like the ending itself, uh, like defining everything in a way like that. Like, at least when I watched, I didn't feel that way leaving the theater. But that also just could be like me not really remembering it. I think it has that sort of like there's a flowy vagueness to it where like it's one of those things where I remember way more the feeling of the film and like some images than like the specifics of it, and like
Sure.
the events. So at least that wasn't really my feeling in terms of the ending. It does feel like this kind of film that, in a way that I enjoy, where it kind of just a lot of things happen, and then that's it. Like it kind of
Yeah.
exists in like we went in this room and we left this room, and that's the movie. Which I think there's it. I don't know. I think is really beautiful. I will say with we talked about the two actresses. I think there's like every movie, there's just not enough Hunter Schafer, but I do think she's really good. I think she's like there's some like there's the line reading at the end where she comes in after all that's happened. I don't have no idea what she says or whatever, but I just remember her delivery really being beautiful. Um, and she's like got her like notebook or whatever, and she's like running around,
Yeah.
and she just like says like a couple things here and there, but she has like the most beautiful way of speaking and saying it. That her like small minimal role uh, is really powerful, and I think they're all three of them are kind of really powerful in their kind of own
Yeah.
roles.
FKA Twigs role as well.
Sure, sure, true. She
Yeah.
also very like specific voice. Uh,
Right.
I wasn't like kind of she's whatever in the movie to me, but like uh, definitely like I'm very interested in placing like very specific voices in, and especially
Yeah.
those smaller roles. Like it's a voice you remember for sure. I really like that scene where you first see her because it's very flat and straight on. It's this sort of like a 2D sort of video game where sort of like
Yeah.
it's like a tracking shot, but we're looking from the side in a way that it's a very like almost like you're looking through a mirror to that, like because of the way that it's
Yeah.
constructed in the house where we're like looking straight on to these like visions. I like that kind of side shot a
I
lot.
thought that stuff was really cool. Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like a lot of, like, whenever we escape the kind of like, I guess it's like a barn that they're
Right,
in.
it is some
Whenever
sort of
we
like
escape there, it's like the movie is visually so
it's very
interesting.
genius.
Um,
I think like it's like something I was thinking about a lot is like because it does like it goes to these concert scenes, and it's like it's impossible for me in a post trap world not to think about trap when I'm seeing these things.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, dude, imagine Mukti Pram shooting these things. But you could say that about any film ever and be like, oh,
sure.
dude, this would be so great if Mukti Pram shot it. But I do think there's like it is shot like the actual cinematography is smart and um really solid. It's nothing crazy, but like I think the cool stuff is really in the kind of the direction of the way that we transition from those like worlds almost.
Yeah,
It's very unique in its language in terms of that. Like I said, like that stage. It reminds me a lot of you know, uh, what's it called? Oh, I forget the actor's name. He was talking about like the differences in between um, directing stage plays and directing. It I forget the actor, but he's an actor that worked with the Coens, and he's quite famous, and he's like three names. Um, but he also directed movies. He directed a movie I think called O with Josh Hartnett. Oh, dude, I can't remember the second name. But he also has written stage plays, and he hasn't directed his own stage plays. Um, and he was talking about like the reason why he feels more comfortable directing films than stage plays is like because stage plays are so specific in when you're directing them, and you have to like understand it's just a different job. And I was thinking like they're just like it feels similar in that way where you're directing for like a different sort of scope and way of seeing. And I was just interested in that. I don't know if David Lowery has much sort of stage background, but I think it lends itself a lot to that kind of language.
hmm, yeah. I don't know who you're talking about, but I was trying to like look at Coen Brothers
Um,
movies and
I mean,
figure out who you were referring to,
let me see. It's
um, but
fuck.
anyway, I agree with what you're saying, which is that it does feel um
Tim Blake Nelson.
very. Oh, Tim Blake Nelson. Okay, I was like,
I was
who
like, he
has
has
three
three
names?
names. I can't fucking,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
remember.
yeah. No, but yeah, it does feel very like stagey. The part that I was referring to at the end is just kind of that like it, uh, like literalizing like the dress, of course, and then also there's kind of just like the scene of like spoilers. There's this scene
Oh, yeah,
where
spoiler.
where she's
Like,
kind of just like, this is for you, and then she has like this like glowing kind of like, it's like a, she's
sure.
like, this isn't for the audience, like it's for you, and it's like,
Oh,
you
like
know
the
uh,
song?
yeah.
Okay.
um
Yeah.
Again, it's like,
But
I'm not
I don't
saying
know, it's like that
it's
I
just like
felt
it does.
that was
I'm
so
not saying it's
obvious in the
bad.
text of the film. I
Yeah,
love
I'm
the
just saying
I
it
think
like,
it's I was it's a movie to me where, like, it's something that I like, and maybe this is 'cause I'm dumb, but I really like when a movie's doing things and I'm like, "I know what they're doing." I'm like, "I got you," 'cause there's stuff in the movie where she's like, "Please fucking let me play my song for you," and
yeah,
I was like, "This is so beautiful," because she so clearly wrote this song for her, and she doesn't wanna hear it, and she's not listening. It's like, I don't know. So I like the when it's like, "Oh, obviously she," and it's like, "Okay, fine." You don't have to, like, actually be like, reveal that at the end. But I liked
no,
kind of I like obvious vague things.
no,
I
it's
was
not
like,
even, and
this
again,
is there's something
I
so beautiful in, like, me because there's something, like I think there's something too, like, not beating it over the head, but making something, like, so kind of earnest and, like, um, not easy to understand, but maybe easy to understand, like, something, like, where you're seeing something and you're really taking in, like, "Oh, this is" uh, I don't know, I felt it way more. I think you can feel it
yeah,
way more when you're like, these gestures are so, and I think a lot of people would read it as like, oh, fucking like obvious and kind in a negative light. But I felt the obviousness of it was more emotionally effective to me, at least.
yeah.
But
I'm
uh,
not even disagreeing with you on any of that. I'm not even like, I mean, all the things you're explaining are things that I like in movies as
right, okay,
well.
I
I
know.
just like, I think it's just more that like it felt to me like it summed up so much of the conversations, where
Sure.
it's like you kind of just have like two scenes at the end back to back, and it's like all you really need to, like, those scenes are just kind of like the spark notes of the
Sure.
very vague
Yeah, that's
conversations that they
fine.
had before it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I
I see what you're saying now. I think that was something I was a little confused about, but it does at the end. Like it's like I think that's what Hunter Schafer says. She's like, and it was the greatest film. There's like a
yeah,
little bit of that, or it's like I think because the whole movie really resonated with me, like like that stuff isn't really that didn't affect me, but I can see what you're saying
yeah, and
in
I'm
that
willing to
way.
accept that, like, I'm the dumb guy here too. Like, it's like
No, no,
maybe that
I
this,
think what
like,
you're saying is fine. Um, I think to me too, I'll say this now because I know people will disagree on this, and a lot of people, like I see it in reviews or stuff like that, where they're like, "Oh, like I really liked it," and then and definitely it's happened before. I'm like, "Oh, the ending ruined the movie to me." I think for me, if like it has to be something really crazy at the end for it to really like I think this just didn't do it something at the end that, like, kind of felt negative, but, like, not that endings don't matter, but, like, I think you can kind of end a movie in a lot of ways, and I'm like, "Well, okay, whatever." I do think, like, it I much more care of for the first 95% of the movie. Is that, like, a
I
crazy thing to say?
I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. I think it's definitely, like, the thing that the thing that matters to me is not always the ending, but I think the reason why I care so much about endings is if you make a movie like this where so much of the movie depends on the ending, where it's like
Right.
you're, because like what you're, because
I see yeah.
this isn't like I don't know what the comparison would be, right? But it's like we were just talking about Michael, right? It's like Michael could end anywhere, you know?
Right. No,
But
exactly.
because Mother Mary is like this movie where it is like a
Like, building
talky, like,
up.
over and out, it's like you're building towards something,
Right.
and it's like what you're building towards needs to pay off for the movie to be
Right.
effective, whereas, like, in Michael, like, it's like, yeah, you can end the movie anywhere because that shit
I
doesn't
see what
matter,
you're saying,
you
and I
know?
think
Like,
that is
that's when
where
endings matter.
I think that's where I disagree not disagree, but I think the movie to me, I was like, I don't really care where they're going, and in a way of like, there's a buildup. There seems to be this buildup, and I understand what you're saying, and I do agree in a way that like I think it's building up to something that like doesn't really fully like the fireworks don't like doesn't really like pay off in a way that
Yeah.
is kind of amazing. But I think because every line of the movie and every kind of gesture was so kind of emotionally resonant with me, I was kind of in a state of like I am not really interested in entirely where we're going. I'm just interested in like the current moment where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, these are like all this is really hitting me. And then whatever happens, happens because this like ride is so kind of powerful. Where I think like the pieces and the components were so effective that it as a kind of film structurally was second in my kind of viewing. It was
Yeah.
like I don't know if that makes sense, but I was like
No, it does.
the words and the kind of emotions were more the experience than the kind of eventual building.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I
Right?
get where you're getting at, and this isn't a movie that I have like concrete feelings about. Like I need to like kind of reassess it.
I
I
think
think
it's
something I mentioned in my
fascinating.
TikTok that I haven't said here is that like the night prior to seeing this movie, I was like up all night doing schoolwork
Right.
and I like did not sleep. I slept for like 3 or 4 hours and then I had to see Mother Mary because I had to do more schoolwork that day. So I was like I
Yeah.
need to see this now because I have other shit to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like maybe if I just like watch it the way I would normally watch a movie, which is not in like
Yeah.
a depressive,
Yeah.
tired state, then
Right.
like
Right.
I'd be like, oh, actually, this is just all good. I don't know.
Yeah. No. I just
I think
I
there's there's more there, and then also I'm like worried that there's not that much there, but I wouldn't really know until I watch it
yeah.
again.
When I was watching the film, I was like, I very clearly, as I watched this movie in a theater where I could take my pants off and no one would have known. Like it was like there that was when I'm like I was like, okay, this feels to me like it feels like it will go down like in 10 years. We'll be like, this is a minor work of David Lowery in terms of like the public's perception. But to me, there's so much here that I feel like it would be wrong to dismiss it immediately. And I know that's not what you're doing, but I think that there's definitely going to be people who watch it like, what the fuck was that, and never think about it again. But I think it's really an interesting film that I'm
Yeah.
glad I saw because I don't know I would have probably saw it, but I watched it for the podcast, and I'm really happy I did so because I liked it so much. And I think I don't think I would have, and I will say like I don't think I would have if I saw this 2 years ago. I probably would definitely not have connected with it in the same way. So I understand not everyone totally latching onto it, but I think for me personally, um, and that's the whole we get this is a loop back to the fucking critics conversation because everyone's gonna fucking have a different reaction to a movie based on their own lived in experiences. And that's why you watch the movie yourself and make your fucking own opinion because you're gonna have, everyone's gonna fucking relate to things in different ways. But definitely um related to this heavily and found it to be interesting in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And also
And I
I'm like
don't want
really
my
happy. No, wait. But
no, go, go, go.
also really happy to is we're gonna do Devil Wears Prada soon, and I'm really happy to watch a film with Anne Hathaway, uh, and really enjoy her performance because I think to me she's kind of this like sort of mystical figure in culture that like um I don't fully have a relationship with her because a lot of those uh popular films of hers I haven't seen.
Yeah, you
Um,
were not like a young girl at the time that
I wasn't
these
at a
movies.
right young girl at the right time of her like
Yeah.
kind of rise.
Yeah. Unlike me, who was watching The Devil Wears Prada
Right. I didn't have that.
regularly.
I
Yeah.
did watch
Uh,
what's the Ella
Princess
Enchanted?
Diaries. Oh,
Ella
Ellen Enchanted.
Enchanted. It was I think that movie is quite great. I saw that young, uh,
Yeah,
but it wasn't. I was too young to be like that's Anne Hathaway. I was like this is
sure.
Ella Enchanted the movie, and I'm This is an awesome
and you're
movie.
watching it.
This
Yeah,
is a fucking
yeah.
awesome movie. Okay, what are you gonna
No,
say?
we're gonna be
Sorry.
talking about Anne Hathaway a lot on this podcast this year.
Yeah, no, I was I
Quite a
might
bit.
I might come out of this year being like, fuck, there's there's really good Anne Hathaway movies. Like not
Yeah,
like I was like, this might be like a big year for her for me.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
for
for
a
sure.
lot of people, but like I might
But
be
for
like,
you as
this is a
well.
big Anne Hathaway year for
Yeah,
me.
you like Anne Hathaway in a way that not everybody else
No,
does.
no, no,
You're
I'm not even saying
yeah.
that. I'm just saying personally, this is the biggest Anne Hathaway year for me ever. That's what
Yeah.
will happen.
I
I
think
think that's
I think it's the biggest Anne Hathaway year for her as well.
sure we're gonna have that in common, man.
Yeah.
What
No,
were
what
you
I was
gonna
gonna
say?
say is just like I don't want people's takeaway of this much shorter conversation to be that I don't like the movie. I
No,
like
no,
we focused on the one aspect of the movie that I'm questioning. Like I
right.
like I mean, Owen and I's rating
Half
is
star difference.
half a star
No, I
apart,
know.
you know? Like it's not
I
like
think I think it's just a more interesting conversation to have.
yeah.
Uh, and I'm kind of glad the dog's not here, but I was also very interested because he did give it. Well, I'm glad because like I was like kind of like this will be an easier conversation for me to have because I was like I was totally prepared to come on this podcast and I have to defend Mother Mary, and Doug was
Sure.
like, "This movie sucks," and I like have to explain
I don't
why.
even think Doug thinks the movie
But
sucks
well,
though. I
I'm
feel like
now
it was
I'm
more just
interested
like
because he was
a
like, I don't actually gave it a 2.5, and I'm like interested in what he thought
yeah.
because it
I think
is
he
like a
just didn't
kind of
really
controversial, not controversial, but it is like a polarizing film where a lot of people are just kind of like, it's whatever. I mean, that's fine. Uh,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure we could ask him a little bit about it
I
next
uh,
week or so.
I think it's very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to dive. I don't know. I'd love to dive
It
into it more.
affected
But
me.
yeah, it. I saw your tweet. I think you tweeted about it.
Did I tweet?
You
No.
said somewhere that about like it kind of emotionally affecting you afterwards,
Yes. That was in my
which I
TikTok.
was interesting. Okay,
Um,
there's a lot
you
going
know,
on, but
that is yeah. No, it did. I that was kind of my response to it was like I didn't really I thought that the ending was like very strong, but I wasn't quite like I think it gets at what I was saying, which is that like I don't know that like these are characters as much as ideas, and so
right.
like I
And
you know
ultimately, that is all me.
that's
Like I'm like,
yeah
dude,
no
fuck a
I know,
character,
which is
bro. These
like
are all fucking ideas.
and that's like me and other things too. Like I don't know, like it's like we talk about M Night movies a lot, right? Like M
Yeah,
Night is like that's an ideas man right there, and
right.
I'm all for that. I think for the movie to like resonate with me more emotionally, I this subject would have worked better if I both like could have projected onto it and if I felt as like a strong emotional
Right.
connection between the characters as I could have, which like I think it only does
Yeah,
one of those things.
I
And
do
so
agree. Like I don't think I connected or like I wasn't like I don't think the characters were built up in a way where I'm like, oh, I really love these characters, which I think
yeah.
like again, I really like the movie. It's not a perfect movie by any means. So I think that's an area that it could definitely improve on. But um, like you and I have agreed on, like right there with the ideas character thing, I think there's a lot of things in this movie that other people would see as just like things they're not vibing with, which I totally understand. But it does have a lot of those things where I'm like, this is exactly how I'm thinking about things in terms of like, yeah, just these characters are simply vessels for these fucking ideas.
Yeah.
That I think is just more a taste thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again,
That's fair.
uh, I know you don't like hate this movie or anything.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, I had a very emotional reaction after, and it was because of the idea side of it, which was like I started thinking about something, and I was like, man,
Yeah,
that does make me
which is
sad.
interesting because I
So,
mean, I definitely like um I left emotional, but like I think it's interesting to think about a viewing experience where one person had a more emotional time during and one person had one after, and how that relates to the experience, and just
yeah,
totally removing it from ourselves, but just thinking about that as like a construct of two people and how they relate to and view the movie as emotional during or emotional after, and how that relates to their viewing experience. Because there's definitely
yeah,
times that I've had, and I'm sure you have too, is like sometimes different movies are you're going to be different. Like it's not like every movie you're like that. Like it's different movies you're going to have different experiences like that, where some leave you more emotional after than during. and I think a lot of that is an ending thing, where it's like if it ends in a way, and certain movies are like that more, where it's like you're feeling one way, and then it ends in a way that's so specific that leaves you like the lights turn off, and you're like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, what was that? Where I felt like this movie didn't really do that, but it did that the whole way. It kind of felt it, and it ended in a way that I was like, I wasn't even thinking about the ending because I was already in this kind of state of of feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's interesting because I think it like speaks more to like just the impact that a movie could have on you in general, which is that like it is more than just kind of what happens within the like parameters of the movie. And to me that often like to me that's the most interesting part of like a lot of the art I consume is like how do I talk to somebody about this after, like what do I think
Right,
about it after. And so like when I point to things that are bad, I'm like, they don't really have that effect, you know, like, or it's like the opposite.
right,
Like we just
right.
talked about Michael, right? Which is like when you leave the theater watching, no, really, like to
Oh,
bring it full circle, it's like
yeah.
when you leave the theater watching Michael, are you gonna like sit there and reflect on a scene in Michael and be like, damn, that really got me? Or are you just gonna like go listen to Michael Jackson's music because it's good and that's all the movie reminded you of? And the
I didn't even
answer
I
is
left the movie being like, "I don't wanna listen to any Michael Jackson,"
no,
which
I
is
know, but
very
I'm saying
crazy.
I'm saying for like the audience that likes the
No,
movie.
I
You know what
know.
I mean? Like
I
I'm saying,
know.
do the people that like the movie like leave the theater and they're like, "Damn, that really
But it was just
like what a
that just made
yeah."
me think about, like, when you see, like, the Dylan movie or something and, like, you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna put fucking Dylan on the car ride home, I'm gonna" like, this movie, despite great music being a part of Michael Jackson, like, it's like I never
No, I
even
kinda
thought
you
for
know
a
what's
second, like
crazy is that I listened to Michael Jackson music so much leading up to this movie because and it's like it's not like I was just listening to it for the
right,
first
right.
time, but like I, you know, I was kinda trying to get myself pumped. I was like, I'm not gonna like the movie, but at least I'm gonna enjoy the music. And
Yeah.
like and so I was just listening to like for like the past few weeks, I've just been playing Michael Jackson in my car like as much as I can. I left the movie and I was like, bro, I don't want to hear that shit. It's like, yeah, I need a break.
Right,
I
right,
thought I was
right.
gonna leave the movie and be like jamming. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this made the music worse. Like, um, anyway,
Right,
enough on Michael and I
right,
will
right,
both of those movies. We got a long pod. Let's wrap up by talking
right.
about some news. I want to remind everybody to share some feedback if you'd like listening to us talk about both Michael and Mother Mary. You could like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you can follow us at all the links in the episode description. News, we've got a bunch of it, but we could try to fly through it. Park Chan Wook's new movie, The Brigands of Rattle Creek, will star Pedro Pascal, Matthew McConaughey, Austin Butler, and Tang Wei. It's a Western thriller that follows a sheriff and a doctor seeking revenge against a group of bandits who use the cover of a torrential thunderstorm to rob and terrorize the occupants of a small town. And it's a script from S. Craig Zoller that has been
Crazy.
revised by Park Chan Wook.
Yeah, sounds
A lot of
awesome.
information here, all of it pretty interesting.
Yeah.
um, I
Um,
am very excited for new Park Chan
cool
Wook.
cast. Really cool
Yeah,
cast.
I think a lot of
Um,
people are down on this cast.
that
Um,
makes sense. People but you put
this
Pedro
cast,
Pascal in a movie and people are gonna be
no,
like,
I
"Fuck,
know, but like
yeah."
this
I
shit
really think
rocks
it's
to
cool.
me. Kind of. First of
Like,
all,
Matthew McConaughey is
yeah,
only in fucking commercials now. Like,
no, Matthew
this is, like,
McConaughey to
one of the
me,
coolest things he has ever done, period. But like also like
yeah,
in terms of like where he is now, like they were like, okay, Matthew McConaughey's gonna be in a new movie. This being the movie is a nuclear like outcome.
yeah. I people have various opinions about Matthew McConaughey. For me, he is like one of the most compelling actors that I've ever seen. Like I love Matthew McConaughey. I don't
Right.
know how
And I
much I'm
assume
like
like he's
on
gonna be the sheriff.
yeah.
Or like I mean
Um
that makes I mean if you're gonna get a sheriff, yeah, fuck yeah, like
yeah.
that's
It's fascinating. Austin Butler being there too. And Pedro Pascal and Austin Butler just worked together on
it's
a
an
Western.
Eddington reunion,
Yeah.
which
Um
yes,
it's just fascinating. And then S. Craig Zoller's script, it's like, you know, a lot of people were talking about this online because the headlines about this movie didn't include that it's the S. Craig Zoller
right, right.
script. Um, and you know, quite conservative filmmaker who people really like.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too
And
familiar with his work, but, like, he's definitely a hot, um, button
yeah,
like,
I
filmmaker.
I'm fascinated by that combination. I mean, obviously, like Park Chan Wook has revised the script and probably threw some like of his own taste
He
in there,
sprinkled a
but like,
little woke in there.
yeah, but like, well, the thing is like I don't know necessarily. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean? Like
right,
I
right.
It's not necessary. I'm not saying that
No,
Park Chan
no,
Wook
I right.
is like not a progressive filmmaker, but I don't think that he is like a super progressive like I don't know that his
Sure.
movies are like getting at super progressive ideas. I mean, No Other Choice recently was obviously like quite progressive in that it's like commenting on like, you know, AI
Yeah.
replacing people and like all this
Mhm.
stuff, but it's also like, you know, some of his early work, like, you
Mhm.
know, Old Boy's not like the most progressive movie in the world.
Right, right.
Um, you know, the argument being that you know his opinions about the world have
Uh,
evolved to the point that
it's
they're
a
at
very
now with like No Other
interesting
Choice.
like, it feels like, it's like, "Oh, this is, like, a weird combination," but when you look at Stoker, that Stoker's written by Wentworth Miller. Like, like, it does feel adjacent to very different collaborators, but both, like, very what they feel random and kind of out there, but it is some sort of a pattern with him where, like, you're doing this sort of, more Hollywood film, this Western film, uh, with like someone else. So it's a very kind of random guy that writing it. That is
Yeah.
interesting. I don't really. I mean, I have to look at his like
Yeah, I don't know to
who writes these like other films, but they feel super. It just feels like kind of a crazy gets for
it's a weird mix of like all these things going
right.
on and I'm just kind of fascinated by it. I
No, it is fascinating.
imagine it could go poorly, but in my head I have no reason to not be
Yeah, I
super
should watch
excited about
Stoker.
it.
I've been like
So,
really weird about Stoker. I know
I
people
haven't
like
seen it
there's
either.
a lot of
Yeah.
people who like really dislike it, and
Yes.
they're probably valid. But I there's some like aesthetic parts of that movie that I see online, and I'm like, dude, like this movie's for I don't know. Maybe it's
In a
like
good way?
yes, and
Okay.
I'm like it might be a mess, but it like is maybe
Yeah.
like it's super interesting.
No, I mean Park Chan-wook
I don't
is
know. It's like
um
this. I kind of been like kind of annoying and about it, and I've been like active like I'm not gonna watch this, because it kind of exists in my head as like a better movie than I'm scared it is, because
yeah.
I'm like overly not high on him. But this movie, I don't know. I feel like I should like watch like Thirst or something because that's also a movie that seems interesting to me, and is
Yeah.
received better. But maybe I'm just being a bitch and just should watch all of them or something. I don't
Yeah, I think you should. Well, also, it's like, I don't know, I feel like you're kind of allergic to his brand of
I've
filmmaking,
seen
which is
2 of his movies. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But they're also, like, 2 masterpieces that
I
you
know.
don't give a fuck about, so it's like,
But I also
yeah.
like I'm like The Handmaiden, like, stars Kim
Wait,
Min
have you
Hee.
seen The Handmaiden?
No, and I'm like,
Yeah, okay.
Kim Min
That movie
Hee
that's his best movie,
Kim
to
Min
me.
Hee, how could I
Um,
like it? But what's
I
also what
really
I feel
like The
where
Handmaiden.
I'm like,
To be fair,
Mia
I
is
think
like
disliking Oldboy is in
is fine and
2026 is
acceptable.
understandable.
Yeah.
Disliking Decision to Leave feels kind of like
I will
like
say
borderline illegal to
I
me.
will say, okay, my thing with Decision to Leave is I watched it 3 years ago on my laptop, and I don't think that is the best way to watch that movie.
Yeah.
And that's all my relationship to his filmmaking is I've seen Oldboy, I don't like Oldboy. Saw a Decision to Leave on my
Yeah.
laptop 3 years ago, and that's it. And, like, so I'm not counting him out or whatever. I think he's interesting enough, but I
Sure.
just haven't engaged with it, um, in, like, kind of
It'd be
a
really funny to just like advertise the new Park Chan-wook movie and like, you know, like how they do it where it's like one of the masters of cinema and then like have a pull quote that's just like, I think he's interesting enough. You know.
I don't know. I don't wanna be super definitive on him,
Yeah.
because I feel like I haven't spent the right resources of my time and my attention to be really thorough about it. Um, and I think like I was being sort of with Dave Lowry was like, oh, there's like some movies that like are like kind of promotionally repugnant. I think that's the opposite with some of these Park Chan Wook movies where I'm like, these come off really interesting to me, and I that's all that's where I can end it right there. I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to actually watch the films to really
Yeah,
say anything other than
yeah.
that. But there are
And I
films of
think you
his,
should.
there are films of him like The Handmaiden, like Stoker, like Thirst. That I'm like, I don't know. There's I feel like I could really get down with these, but I have to actually view them to get down with them.
Yeah.
So
Um, we got double Michael B. Jordan news. For one, Michael B. Jordan will produce and possibly star in the film adaptation of the video game Battlefield with Christopher McQuarrie writing and directing. And then the other piece of news, which is not as much news, but Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice 85 will officially star Michael B. Jordan and Austin
is that
Butler.
what's
Before
called
it was rumored, and
Miami
now it
Vice
is
'85?
official. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, the big. I mean, we've known about Miami Vice. This just
Battlefield,
like
was it
confirms it.
Battlefield?
Battlefield movie, directed and
Christopher
written by Christopher
McQuarrie.
McQuarrie, is
What is
fascinating
Battlefield?
because
Is the video game?
do you not know what Battlefield is? What?
Have you played this?
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield is. I'm not like a bat. I'm not like I have friends
What
who
is
are
it?
way
Like
more
Call
into
of Duty,
Battlefield. It's
basically?
like Call of Duty, yeah, but it's more it's yeah, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like
Someone's gonna
bigger
be
in scale, and it's
somebody's
like a
really
little
upset
more.
in the comments
The
section.
combat is like a little more realistic. It's
Okay,
like I don't know. It's in the same vein, but like there's kind of
right.
a
See,
growing up. It was
I was never
more
a big like shooter
FPS.
guy.
Yeah.
I played
Um,
CS:GO back in the day.
that's
Uh,
a real game. Yeah.
CS:GO movie.
No, that'd be sick. But
You're like
CS:GO doesn't have
getting
like a
right.
story. um, but
But yeah, a lot of these games are
yeah, it was
long.
my like as a kid, the my best understanding of it was kind of just like that you were one or the other. It was like you were a Call of Duty guy or like a Battlefield guy. I know
Okay,
a lot of people
that's
who played
interesting.
both. I know a lot of people who played both, but there was kind of like a sentiment I feel like from Battlefield people who like thought
It's
less
not
of
like
Call of Duty
is it a
players.
PlayStation exclusive? No.
No.
Okay, so you could
Is
just
it?
have both. Like it wasn't like a it wasn't like a console reasoning by the it was just like some people were like this is the only I can only play one game.
Um, no, yeah, no, it's on Xbox. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know why I thought first. I was like questioning it for a
Well,
second.
I was
I
just
played
thinking of
Battlefield on
that being a
PlayStation too.
reason why. Like a lot of people are like, I'm on Xbox. I play Call of Duty, and you're a fucking loser with that. You can only play
Yeah.
I
Like
don't know.
Gears of War is like that. Gears of
Gears
War
of
was an
War. Okay.
Xbox exclusive.
Yeah. I feel
You don't
like
know about Gears of War?
it's something I've heard of, but
Yeah, Gears of War was a big game, but it was Xbox
there's so many
exclusive.
of these games. And I'm gonna
Like
keep going
Battlefield
back
is a
to this.
major. I
There's so
think the
many of these
newest,
games that are aesthetically repugnant.
sure, but they're yeah.
Where I'm
I
like,
mean,
this game could be amazing, but it just like it bores me to tears with like it's like kind of the aesthetics of the
yeah, that's
we're
just like so
even
not.
we're even
I can't even
CS:GO
imagine having that thought though.
CS:GO
Like
to
it's
an
like
extent,
you
like it's like I can only play this for so long because it's like kind of bland vibe
like
on
that's
it.
crazy to me. Like it's like I can't imagine playing CS:GO and being like, yeah, if only this game looked better. Like literally, why
Right.
would you give a
If
fuck?
only this game had like a different map that I like thought was
Why
cooler.
would you
Or like
care though?
because it's like I don't know, that's like I think it's like 90% of the game to me.
I guess.
Like
I
it's like
so
if I
that's
can
just
have
like that's why
I don't
you're
know,
allergic
I
to
thought if the
FPS
game is like
games?
fun and like really cool looking in a way that like I think there's also like a thing with those games where like that when there's games where you're doing like you're going from like levels and it's like oh this is like
Yeah.
a new map that's like I haven't been to and now it's like really crazy where those games like you do the same fucking like 10 maps or something and it's like
Yeah.
geez like I might die
Yeah. No,
like
FPS
like
games just
Fortnite
not
it's like
for
I'm in
me.
the same fucking thing so many times
Yeah.
uh
I don't know. I really I know a lot of people who are like I'm on like the competitive gamer side where I think a lot of other people are very like their whole I think most people listening to this podcast, like if you're somebody who's played video games your whole life, it's more likely that you are like that you care about aesthetic and like story Whereas like most of the games that I found interesting throughout my life are just games where I like compete against people online, like FPS
Well,
shooters or like Rocket League or like
the
you know,
thing
we
is,
play you and I play like sports games
well,
together a
that's
lot,
what I
and
was gonna
those are
get
very
at. We're like
repetitive.
with those games, it's like there's a I don't I think I'm like fine enough with the aesthetics of those games, but like that's a different thing where uh like I'm very competitive about those games and like that's the exciting part to me. I do think a lot of games like with the FPS things, like those shooters, I am not like a good enough player that it's competitive in a fighting fun way. So I'm like, there's not really anything for me here. That's the thing.
Yeah, but is
Because
that not just like
if
is that
I
not
was
just like
like
the
really
skill-based
fucking
portion of those games though? You know what I mean? Because it's like all like every competitive game is like mostly matching you up with skill-based play. You know, like when you played CS:GO, like you can't get bored of it because you're playing against
no,
people the
I just
same
like
rank as
suck.
you.
No, but I just like
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
you're
good at
not
those
playing.
games.
You what?
I'm just not good at those games. So like it was the competitive part of it wasn't there for me.
Okay.
And so it was nothing for me. But I
But when
also think
you
like I just I don't like 99% of games. And I feel like there's something where it's like I'm just like I'm always like, is there a game that I like? I think I'm
see
at this point in my life where I'm like,
I
I just hate
that's
games.
I feel similar to you, whereas like most games I get bored of.
Right.
However, what I struggle with, which is like the opposite reaction to what you're having with CS:GO and stuff, is that like that's what's appealing to competitive games for me. Like we even with the sports example, like what you're talking about with 2K, I love playing 2K,
Yeah.
but I have like it's not to say that there aren't like people who are better than me at 2K, but the types of things that I like to play in 2K, like I understand them to the best of my ability already. Like I know how to play 2K. Whereas like with like a Madden game or college football, I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't really like I'm not really as best as I can be at this."
Yeah.
So it's exciting to me. And like
Okay.
CS:GO, like when I was a kid playing CS:GO and I was like ranked silver, I was like this game is fun because I want to get better. Whereas like what you're saying kind of is that because you're bad, like it makes you not want to keep playing. Like I
Um,
being bad at the game is
well,
like the whole
I
point of
think
giving all my time to
he
it.
here's
Like,
something else that I think like I mean, I definitely played like sports games maybe a little bit before this, but I think that one of the most fun parts about say like 2K, right? Like
mhm,
I think at the point of my life where I'm at, right? If I were to play 2K,
mhm.
well, there are different parts of 2K, which is where but I'm getting I guess the part I'm getting at here. So one of the most fun parts about 2K is doing not this part, but like the reason why you would do a bunch of like offline grinding is then because you can do like the online stuff with other people. And
Yeah.
I think with the CS:GO and stuff, I wasn't really playing with other people
Sure.
in
Okay.
like I was
Yeah.
like 13 or
That's
whatever,
the appeal
and
of CS:GO to
I
me is
was like
like
running
being on a
around
team with my
playing.
friends.
I was just like running doing games by myself. And I
Yeah.
think if I don't know if like but that's thing I guess like with Fortnite. Like I say I don't play I would never play Fortnite like by myself. But if someone was like if I was like, "Oh, we're gonna do a Fortnite game," whatever. It's like that is more fun. Like that's the fun part of
Yeah.
it.
No, I agree, I agree.
So
It's only fun to be competitive if
where
you're
it's like
doing it
I
with your
do
friends.
like there's a part of me that's like I love to find a story like offline game that I like playing. But I think so much at this point in my life, what is fun about playing video games
Is
is
doing it with other
being
people. Yeah.
competitive with other people.
Yeah.
Um, but like I would just sit on
Yeah.
2K and run Trade Finder for days and be
Yeah.
totally content with myself.
That's
Like
the
doing
most appealing thing to me about FPS games is like I wanna play on a team with my friends and have like a strategy component of like we have to beat these guys like as a team, like with
right,
my friends. Like that's like the
which
most fun thing about those
I
games to me.
think could be something that with the right game I could get down with, but I also do
Yeah.
think I just suck at those games so
No, I
much
know, but like
that
imagine
there's
like
like there's an
imagine
extent
me, you, Doug, and two of our other friends play CS:GO together. Like that would be fun.
right. It would
Even if we're all shit. Like, we'd be equal
right.
levels of shit, and it would be fun.
Equal levels of shit I could get down with. I think, like, something like Call of Duty is just never going to be that for me because I'm, like, decades behind. I
I
just feel
guess, but, like,
I
honestly,
don't
dude,
know.
like, we played Call of Duty with,
I don't
like
know.
we played Call of Duty with Max, and when he started playing, he had no idea, like, he
Right.
could barely play, and after we
Yeah.
played a bunch, he picked it up. Call of Duty's not like a game where you can't pick it
Sure.
up after, like,
Sure.
playing
I
for a
don't
couple
know.
days, you know? Like, you'd catch on pretty quickly, like, you know how to play video games
I think
generally.
too, not to extend this conversation for so long, but I think there's something fun about, like, is there always, like, those, like, shooters, or there's something about, like, there's almost, like, anti-creativity in the way that those are, like, structured, where it's like, pick guy number 2 and pick gun number 3 and then gun shoots the people, where, like, I think I always, like, try to find some weird fucking shit where I'm like, you're never gonna find me in a 2K year playing with some normal ass build.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I'm always gonna be
you
like,
love to do
let me
weird shit.
find a six
Yeah,
nine
you love to
center.
just, like, do
Like, let
experiments.
me. I get so much more enjoyment out of, or like even like I would for years like I would be in these like 32-man Madden leagues with like random people, and I'm like, let me like find some random free agent guy who's like a 38 overall. I think that's my quarterback. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the playoffs, and I'm a good enough player, but I'm gonna kind of not troll, but like have some other fucking like weird side quests that are way more fun for me. And I find some of those games are restrictive in a way where I can't do
You
my
can't do
weird
that,
side
yeah.
quests. Where
Yeah, you
I'm
have to
like,
play the objective in an FPS game, or
right,
you're just,
right.
like,
And I'm like,
letting your team down.
I wanna, like, be good at this game. I'm gonna be so good at this game where I can, like, play with my fucking hand behind my back in
Yeah.
a way. Where, like, that's the fun part
Yeah,
for
but
me.
maybe you could, maybe a game like a game like Valorant where it's like a hero shooter, maybe that would appeal to you more because everybody has their own abilities, and then you could find some character that you
Right.
use, like,
Well, like,
differently than everybody else does.
yeah,
Like,
I think
you have, like, unique
that's a
ways
good
of
point.
doing it.
Like, I was never, like, too into Marvel Rivals, but I think there was something appealing in that. I'd be like, "Let me be Squirrel Girl," and, like,
Yeah, and you
have
find, like, little ways
right,
to,
right.
like,
I
do
think
it differently than everybody else is
that's a
doing it.
good
Yeah.
point. It
Yeah.
would just have to be, I'm, like, super specific in the way that, like, what appeals to me in that way, where, like, it just have to be the
Yeah.
right game.
To be fair, I think you liked Marvel Rivals, but I just got bored of that game pretty
It
quickly.
was
Um,
I thought it was fun to an extent, but it's not something like
yeah.
I'm at the point of my life where I could never play it again and feel totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Yeah.
fun for, like, a week, and, but
Anyway,
again,
to go full circle back to
the
this
structure of those
news.
games are for me.
Yeah, the to go full circle back to this news, all I really wanted to say about this was that, like, what we've been saying on the pod recently, like, we're just so in the video game era. Like, we're gonna see every
Yes,
video game
and I
adapted.
love it, I'm,
And
like, actually
yeah,
so excited about it, and that's actually, like, I've been thinking about this a lot, and not to make this a 9-hour conversation, but I have been thinking about this a lot because of the Elden Ring stuff, and I'm like, "Dude, like, I wanna, like," I've been researching random video games because I'm like, "I gotta find cool video games to adapt," because I think because I'm like, "Let me find some weird game to play and adapt it," because I think
yeah,
I it's happening, and we're doing it, but I think there's so many, like, interesting ways to adapt video games that we're really not tapping into enough yet. Like, I
yeah.
think
Someone needs to let me make an
the way that people
unturned
are
movie
adapting them
adaptation.
are kind of, it feels like we're in, like, this would be, it feels wrong to say this because I think Marvel movies or superhero movies have gotten, like, aesthetically less interesting, but it does feel like we're in the early stages of the superhero stuff where it's going to boom in a way that it kind of already has. But
Yeah.
I think there's, I don't know. I think the
Like,
video
we don't
game,
even know how crazy it's gonna get. Like,
I think the
it's because you're talking
translation,
about so many
I think the
movies.
translation video game to movie is really interesting. Um, but I think we're a little too safe with how we're doing it right now. And I'm excited for the potential because I think it's like, because they're so successful, I think somebody, whether it's me or Jimmy Joe or whoever, right? I think somebody can get away with doing some really cool stuff and still being commercially viable um, at the same time. Like I think you could make
Yeah.
some really weird, like kind of experimental video game movie, um, and it still be successful because it's IP. And
Right.
I think leaning into the video game ness, I'm really excited. And I hope like Alice Garland. I think whatever, right? I think I'm really excited for this Elden Ring movie, just on the basis that it's like the biggest A24 movie ever, and it's such a big IP, but it's also a video game that is structured in a very specific way. And I'm really
Yeah.
interested in how they adapt that. And I think you can adapt it in like the most boring way ever, but I think you could also do it in like a really cool way. And I'm just expecting to be disappointed, but also like this could be like one of the best movies of that year.
Yeah. I was trying not to cut you off, but one of our pieces of news
Is
is
Elden Ring?
that Havana Roselu and Ruby Cruz have joined the cast of Alex
Yes.
Garland's Elden Ring, which already includes Kit
Bottom's
Connor, Ben
number
Whishaw,
two.
Kaylee Spaney, Nick Offerman, Tom Burke, and a bunch of other
Nick
people.
Offerman is probably
Um,
like the most like I'm confused on this casting. Uh,
he's in
I
Civil War.
I know that. I'm more so like a lot of the people I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I would totally put them in an Elden Ring movie. Not even like
Yeah.
I would, but like this is someone that I would cast in some bullshit. But Nick Offerman, I'm like, I don't really see it. But if he's like a talking something or I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, my
I feel like
logic
if
is
he
just
just
that,
shows
like,
up and he looks like Nick Offerman, I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah, no, but my logic is just that there's a long list of like a good chunk of this cast list is people who Alex Garland has already worked with.
Right.
Um, so that's like kind of my point there is like
Ruby
Nick
Cruz and
Offerman, Kaylee
Havana Los
Spaney's on there.
aren't
Like,
they haven't,
no, no, they have not. So that's like
but
new. I mean,
I
the
really like
young
both of
cast
them.
is new. Like them
Well,
two plus
Kaylee
Kit
Spaney
Connor. Kaylee
is
Spaney has already worked with him.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
saw some like behind the set photos and stuff looked cool. There was I didn't know if you saw it on Twitter. It was like a video of like it was like a video of like someone like took illegally, and then people were like, Elden Ring has such a like fucking strong aesthetic like look, and this looks like shit. And it's like someone taking like a fucking phone video, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, do you know
yeah,
how
it's like they're
movies fucking
obviously
work?
gonna.
Do you know how
Yeah,
do you know how movies
that's
work?
really
It was
funny.
like, yeah, obviously, this is not what the movie's gonna look like. It's
Yeah,
the most like we see this sometimes with like set photos. They're like, oh, this looks like shit. It's like this is a set photo that some random photographer took. But like
yeah,
to bring that to somebody taking an iPhone video of behind the scenes, it was like we just
yeah.
wait for a trailer at least to talk about how the movie looks.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Another one of the biggest pieces of news we have to talk about. Obsession director Curry Barker is set to direct A24's film reimagining of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We haven't yet seen Obsession, but we will be talking about it on the pod pretty soon. Um, and now the director of the movie is making a Texas Chainsaw movie. So that's a big deal. I wasn't originally excited for Obsession, and the kind of overwhelmingly positive reaction, especially from people who I like didn't really expect to react to it positively, is making me excited. I'm like, oh, maybe this movie is actually just good. Um, and if that's the case, then let him make a Texas Chainsaw movie. Why not?
I
Fuck it.
I'm at this point right now where I am like I don't know if any of these things are good, but I am so happy and pumped to see all of these kind of young people slash people from the internet uh, make that jump
Yeah,
because we just talked about David Lowery and I was like, what is he 45? Right? And I
yeah,
was like, oh, he's 45, but he's like just kind of entering the thing. And that's not David Lowery's fault. And I don't know David Lowery's whole career journey. Let's use journey as the word. But like I think to in order for us to improve on an industry level, I think we got to get young people making movies. And like we got
yeah,
Backrooms in a few weeks, and like that movie is going to be big, and it is held by I think it's 19 right now, 20.
yeah,
Like I think that alone is awesome, and because it is an industry where you have a lot of older people making decisions. And obviously, like, old people make decisions everywhere, and it's like kind of, what are you gonna do, right? But I think
Yeah.
I talked about this with Doug a while ago, where it's like something about music is so interesting to me because, and I know I know nothing about music. I like music, whatever. I don't I That's just not the way my brain works. But the music industry is so cool because a 17-year-old, 19-year-old can record a song in their fucking room and post it on TikTok, and it could go viral. And all of a sudden, that 19-year-old is playing, Olivia Rodrigo is like 23 years
Yeah.
old, right? You have all these like pop megastars that are super young, and you have that with actors, but it's different because the actor isn't, you know, have all this like kind of creative control, and they're not running the show in the same way that like a musician is writing the music and whatever, and is like the creative
Yeah.
force behind it. Like Olivia Rodrigo is the creative pulse behind her new album, in the way that like you're not really seeing that with young directors. Well, you are, but like not on the biggest stage. So I think having these young people um, make movies for young people is so good for the industry. I think it was I don't know what the article was from, but it was like Gen Z is that's the movie going audience. Like Gen Z goes to the
Yeah.
movies. So do you want to save the industry? Oh, make Gen Z movies for Gen Z. I think
Yeah.
that is so important. And it seems like it's going to be effective. It seems like it's going to
Yeah.
work. Like Backrooms is a big deal. And you know why? Because it's a young person making a movie for young people, and young people are excited for it.
Yeah.
Whoa. Like, we're in this spot where it's like you have 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds trying to make movies for young people, and they kind of don't get it, right? And I'm not saying get rid of those
Yeah.
guys because I love those guys. Like, there are 80-year-olds that make movies that I love, right? But I think it's really important. So I just naturally, because I'm so pro this, I'm like, I see a 26-year-old who has made some horror shorts or whatever that I haven't even seen. But the fact that that pathway is a reality is so good for the industry. And so I haven't seen Obsession. I'm excited for it. I might not like it, but I think generally this is good. So I am excited, and I hope I do like it. I hope I like all this stuff. Um, but even if I don't, I think it is a pro. It is a pro for the industry, and it seems to be something that's really heating up. I feel like the last year or so, it's really heating up. That we're gonna get a lot of people, a lot of new faces that are gonna be around for looks like a long time. Uh, from the internet, which it seems like a it seems like a kind of, I don't know, it's something that can really boost and save the industry to an extent. I think it's a whole new wave. It seems like a wave. It's one of those things where like World War II. I don't know why that's my example, but like they didn't call World War One World War One when it happened. You're not calling like these movements. I don't know why. That was my example, but like it seems like some like kind of move. That World War One is a horrible example, but it seems like there's something happening right now, and they'll define it. They'll give it a name, 10 years, 20 years, but right now we're kind of going through it, and it's really exciting to see it happen.
Is that
That's
all?
that's my sorry. I was like losing my wind there a little bit. So
No, yeah. As soon as you mentioned a world war, I was like, this is actually probably the best example of what happens when we just let you talk, Because this is a 3-hour episode, and you're just
oh
taking it
man.
all in.
But
You
oh
just
man,
can't
I'm so
you can't
excited.
help yourself.
So excited.
Um,
Was
yeah,
Cory
I
Barker?
I I had things to add, but I
No, no, I'm
it's
interested.
okay. No, I don't even know that I
Just
remember what
this,
any
give me
of
the
them were
spark
at this
notes.
point. No, I agree with your point, and I think like a significant detail to your point is that there's never been more of a gap between how like old people's understanding of young people,
Right,
in the
right.
past when you and in the past for most of like human existence, it was probably fine for older people to make movies for young people
Yeah,
because there was kind of a formula to that, and now there's just like the gap is getting wider. And then the other thing, uh that I would add is that I think for all of the like young filmmakers who are probably going to be bad at it, and who are going to be unappealing, there is the pro of like some people are genuinely like going to like we need some young people to push the medium forward because they have a view of the world that like just doesn't exist for any older generation.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I do
for
just
sure.
think there's like a like like young people have a perception of things like the internet and like all the like they've been raised in a world that's different, and that's going to like
Yeah,
affect the look of their movie. It's going to affect the like style of their movie. It's going to affect like all of these things that are going to in some way affect how films
definitely.
look, even if a bunch of them are going to make probably bad movies. Like someone, it's worth it for the person who's going to make a good
Right,
movie.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Um,
Is like it's
so
all it's automatically a net positive, even if like say you get 20 filmmakers and they all stink, but they're popular or whatever, and it opens the door for a filmmaker that would never get the chance or wouldn't get the chance for another decade or so. If we end up getting more movies out of this person because they're given a shot way earlier. Um, I think that's a net positive, and I think we need some sort of system or some sort of way where younger people can get in the industry quicker because I think it's such a weird kind of barrier, and I just don't think it should be a thing where people really get into the groove when they're like 40.
yeah,
I think it's not a pro for the industry. I think, especially because we're in this day and age where everybody's a filmmaker in a way, everybody's a photographer in a way, everyone has a phone in their pocket. We've been creating images since we were 2 years old, right? Or not, 2 years old, but
yeah,
young people have been creating images for so long that I think they're ready enough. Like, obviously there's a lot of work to be put in, and there's so much you have to do to become a filmmaker of any quality. Like there's just so much work that goes into it. But I think because Gen Z specifically has been raised on image making in a way that really no other generation has, I think it's totally fine, or not fine doesn't feel right, but it's totally makes sense that they would be able to make that jump earlier than other generations. But also, it's like this 20-year-olds have been making movies forever, like Sam Raimi or Chantal Ackerman, or 20-year-olds have been making movies for a long time. Um, it just makes even more sense now than it ever has.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the rest of the news I had written down is like scraps. We could just call it there.
You know, I had that clean three.
About what?
No, you hit the clean 3 hours. I was gonna.
I thought you were I was like, "What are you talking about?" Um, no, I mean, if you
Yeah.
want, we could talk about Connor's story, I guess, but,
Okay. What is he? Was the Gene Smart movie?
no, this is a Craig Zobel movie with Melissa
Oh,
McCarthy
that one. I
called
remember Gene Smart. I
Turpentine.
don't know why Gene Smart.
Um,
Uh,
it sounds interesting enough. The person directing it, Craig Zobel, is mostly a TV director, did The Penguin and Mayor of Easttown,
okay.
which are, like, pretty
I
significant
don't, this
TV
was on the. I think
projects,
this was on the
but
podcast where Doug was. I think where Doug was like, these heated rivalry guys are never gonna. And I'll tell. I don't know. Doug was. I was really pushing back on that. Dude, Connor Story is gonna be around. Like
yeah.
straight up, Connor Story, is a part of the movies now. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
be. But I don't
Not
know.
just that, but I think there's just a real tendency for not that this is like a new thing, but I think especially in the streaming era, if a show goes viral, it's way more likely that that person is going to like transition into bigger projects.
Yeah,
Like actors have been pulled from TV for a while now, but I think like something blowing up to the size of Heated Rivalry is
yeah.
just like for sure going to result in those people
It's
being in
something that I'm
movies.
really fascinated about because it's a thesis that I really can't get like into a full thought, but I've always thought about this in the way that like you look at an actor or an actress in the 90s, the 80s or whatever, they could be in some really big movie or whatever, and then you never hear about them again. And I think the way that the movie industry works now, if you're popular for for one thing, you can kind of ride that for a while just because of your name value holding so much in a way that like has never really been. Or it's like Connor Story is in the top X in terms of name value just off that one show. And like
Yeah.
he and like even and I think the thing with him too is he seems genuinely like
Yeah.
about this
Low-kurt
life.
genuinely.
He seems genuinely like I want to be in cool. Like I want to be in Luca Guadagnino. Like like he seems like
Yeah.
he knows what he's talking about to a level where like he has a baseline taste. Where like
Like
he's
there's a path forward for
right.
him.
Like he seems like he wants to do shit. I
Yeah.
saw him on was it Iris Axe's as the
Oh,
filmmaker. Like he does like his Instagram is awesome. I don't know if you've seen it. He just takes
I have
photos of
not.
people he has lunch with, and then it says like Connor Story actor. Like this his whole Instagram. It's just people he's like had lunch with or like whatever, right? And
Oh, that's
they
sick.
had lunch, and it's a Connor Story. It's like and it like has like all these likes, or it's like one of his most liked posts. But it's like
That's
he's
so
meeting with
fun.
RS Axe, and like that's like it's like
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything he's in.
I
I
thought he
don't
was
know
funny on SNL
I
as
don't know
well.
anything really about
He's like,
him, but I can tell that he's not going anywhere.
yeah, yeah. Um, Next week, episode
Let's
163,
go.
we'll be talking about The Devil Wears Prada 2 and Hokum.
Hey.
We'll see you next week.
Oh
Bye.
yeah.